Oh, man. Long day today. Very long day today. But not a bad day. Pretty good overall. To anybody who is watching the VOD in a bit, let me say hello. And I hope that you are having a good time of day, whatever time it is, wherever you may be. Pretty much for those of you who tuned in last night, we are just going to be continuing with part 2 of the spoiler-heavy playthrough for Silent Hill 2. For those of you who missed that or didn't see the tweets about it, basically what this is I'm just playing through Silent Hill 2 and just kind of sharing some of the knowledge about things that I've accumulated for this game over the last... Damn, it's really been like 20 years, hasn't it? Jeez. I literally feel myself turning to dust just saying that. But yeah, so we'll give it a minute for a couple people, see if a couple people want to trickle in, and if not, we'll just jump right into it. So I guess I can cover some of the stuff that we've looked at already from part 1, just to kind of catch some people up to speed. We talked about some of the mechanics of this game. Specifically, one of the things that I find most interesting about how this game works is the way that endings are decided. Hello T5, how you doing? Hope you're having a good one. You came at a good time. I'm just doing a quick recap of some of the stuff we looked at yesterday, and then we're just gonna dive right into it. But yeah, we were talking about the endings and how the endings are decided in this game, and it's a very complex, like there's basically like several different triggers that the game, either like things that it monitors throughout the game, like damage that you take or damage that you allow Maria to take, or even actions that you do. Like there's an ending where, you know, in the in-water ending, it's heavily implied that James essentially commits suicide. And with that being one of the kind of character themes of Angela, the scene where she gives you her knife and asks you to hold it, you can examine that knife when it's in your inventory, and the more often you do that throughout the game, it will actually increase your chance of getting the in-water ending, because it's kind of like, you know, you're kind of... It's kind of like playing the game in a way that, like, James is having the suicidal ideation himself, because that's why he's looking at the knife, right? For this playthrough, I was gonna try to go for that ending, just because we already saw the leave ending on the spoiler-free playthrough, which is kind of considered the, like, good ending. Whereas the in-water ending, there is no canonical ending for this game, but the in-water ending is... A lot of people tend to agree. I wouldn't even say it's like widely agreed upon, because there's a lot of debate. But a lot of people feel that the in-water ending is maybe the closest to a canonical, like to a true ending, due to some of the stuff that's referenced in some of the later games like Silent Hill 4. But anyway, so we were going to try to go for that ending. I think I actually kind of goofed by setting the difficulty a little low. This time I just set it on easy for both action and riddle, and I wasn't thinking that one of the things that the game takes into account is how much damage you take. And on lower difficulties, you literally just have to let dudes hit you more. So I might actually try to kind of segue into a different ending, which is going to be the Rebirth Ending. For that one, I guess we don't really have to spoil that one necessarily. We're just going to be collecting the items for it. There are some key items that are in the game when you do a New Game Plus, like after you have a clear save. When you do another new game, there's some new items that appear that spawn in specific locations in the game, and if you beat the game with these in your inventory, I believe that's the only thing that it's checking for. But in any case, I guess it looks like we got a couple people in here, so we'll go ahead and dive right into it. Okay, so... let's go to continue. One of those games that has a handy continue feature to just pick up where you left off. Just auto-loads the most recent save. I wasn't able to save... Hello, Mega Rizwan. Oh, that one's high key one of my favorite endings. Dog ending is godlike. Also, it is hilarious. I actually have two Shibas, and I swear to God, one of them is the spitting image of the dog in the ending. Like, her name is Pearl, and she looks just like the dog in the ending, and it's so funny. But anyway, yeah, for this last last time that we played last night, I did go ahead and beat the Pyramid Head fight, and then I realized actually the best save point to kind of cut off would have been the one just before, so I'm just going to have to do that fight again. I guess what I'll do this time, I showed you guys that if you shoot Pyramid Head in this first boss fight, the bullets make him leave sooner. Like eventually, after he tries to attack you a few times, he'll, just kind of wander down the staircase into the water and kind of leave, and that's the end of the fight. And I showed that if you shoot him, that makes it happen faster. What I'm going to do this time, since I am doing this boss fight again, is I'm just going to show you guys how it is possible to beat it without shooting him at all. If you just dodge him for a little bit, eventually he'll just leave. Also, this weird ass shit again. Alright. You ever check if my dog is at a computer pulling the strings? All the time. I suspect it. She's smart as a whip. Alright, let's wait. Oh my god. Let's wait for him to do stuff. One thing that does make this easy, you can tell when he does his attacks on easy, his attacks don't really track. I can't remember, I don't think that they track at all. It's either that or they just have really bad tracking. He's also physically slower. So you can see okay, that one was my fault. But you can just kind of run. You can wait until he gets pretty close and just run past him. So we're just chilling, waiting for him to do his thing. He's doing the big wind up, and yeah, that has like 0 tracking on it. On hard, it's really funny. It's like he's a Tekken. It's like he's got a Tekken like tracking move where it's like all over the place. It'll spin around and get you no matter where you are. Basically, you just have to like outrange it. This is with this being an L-shaped kind of like room, this is actually kind of terrible for footsies. Hello, spitting lizards. I hope you have a good night. Thank you for stopping in and saying hello. This is the Enhanced Edition, which is the original Silent Hill 2 PC Silent Hill 2 Director's Cut for PC. But the Enhanced Edition is a collection of fan-made mods that are awesome. I've only been playing on the Enhanced Edition since I started doing these Silent Hill 2 streams, and it has left me incredibly impressed. For one, I mean, the characters look better than they have ever looked. Like, the texture work is so crisp. The audio is... I mean, you can hear these little details that are kind of hard to catch in Akira Yamaoka's ambient work, and it is super good. But yeah, anyway, so you can tell we didn't fire a single bullet. Eventually Pyramid Head got bored and walked into the watery staircase thing here. Hello, Knocking! I hope you're having a good night. Or good morning, where you are. So, thank you, Mega Rizwan, for the follow. That is much appreciated. It's very kind of you. So, what we are going to be doing here, I think there's a couple of items we can pick up. Yeah. There's a first aid kit. Those are always handy. Always handy to stock up on when you see them. So, one thing that's kind of neat that's exclusive to the PC version is something that is really easy to miss, really easy to not notice. So we're about to come up to the cutscene where we meet Laura for the first time, and you'll notice she's sitting on a wall that has some graffiti on it of like a little bear and a cat. It's just a little cute doodle. And if you kind of look, I'll point it out and be like here, or like, this part or whatever. When James is really injured on the PC version, like when he's basically like near death, one thing that they added to the director's cut, the PC edition of the game, is this little red cross will appear in the lower right corner as kind of like a, hey, like heal yourself kind of deal. And if you look really closely, it has an image superimposed on top of it to kind of give it a little texture, so it's not like a flat, just red shape. And if you look really closely, they actually took a screenshot of this particular scene, put it in monochromes that like gave it a red color, cut it in the shape of a red cross, and that's what that is. So the texture is like, we're about to see the scene where they took the texture for that from. So yeah, it's actually right here. Yeah, the actual HD collection, like the remaster for PS3 and 360 is terrible. I was not a fan of it.
What's a little girl like you doing here?
But anyway? Let's watch this scene real quick.
Huh? Are you blind or something?
That's What's kind of an oddly translated line, but she's basically saying...
business.
He's saying, like, what are you doing
you
here?
You didn't love Mary anyway.
Wait!
He's saying...
do you know Mary's name?
He's saying, like, what are you doing here? Like, you know, this as in this is like a dangerous place. And she's like, are you blind or something? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, everything's fine kind of deal. She also mentions that she got a letter from Mary, and she also mentions you didn't love Mary anyway. And that's, you know, right away as soon as her character is introduced. Hello, Fires, what? How you doing? Right as soon as Laura's character is introduced, we can tell she immediately knows what's up with James. She knows that he was not good to Mary. So, anyway, we're going to wander around a little bit. I don't really think... Oh, we actually just went backwards. Oops. I don't really think that we... Yeah, because that's where we came from. I don't actually think that we really need to like wander around the town much at this point. There are a couple of things that we need to do. I want to say the next major place we need to go is probably the park, if I'm remembering right. Oh yeah, this is one of those little side areas where you can actually explore. There's not a whole lot up here because there's a big gate fence thing, but there's some bullets. This is one of those games that really, in terms of like little small material rewards, like bullets or health potions or shotgun shells or health kits or whatever, the game has a ton of stuff just littered around the town. If you want to take your time and actually check all the little nooks and crannies, you will have a gazillion armaments and munitions and healing things and all that stuff. There's actually a couple here in this park. I don't remember exactly where they're all at, so we're just going to pick them up if we see them. There's also a few things that we can look at now, which we can't really do too much with. We can see the slippery when wet or frosty sign. Okay, yeah, so here's some of the bullets right here. We have the ammo multiplier set to 2x, just to show how that works, and we're probably going to end up with like a gazillion bullets at the end of this, because it's an easy run as well. Health potion right there. Then we got this horse thing. Patrick Chester, son of Edward, he fought and died for the people, for liberty, and for all of our tomorrows. His memory lives on. This is one of those things that is just kind of not really a reference to anything. I don't believe it's more of just like flavor text to, you know, for the town to just kind of add atmosphere that it's like, yeah, it's, you know, it's like a lot of towns. It's got little monuments in the park talking about this and that. So one thing that's that we're about to see is the introduction of a very important character in this game, Maria. We're about to get to the scene over by the super dried up looking lake deal. Yeah, you can actually see, like, if you look through the fog, there's like driftwood and there's basically no water. On the HD collection, the fog is rendered so poorly you can literally see the edge. It's like a big box shape, and it's super disappointing. But anyway, I do want you guys to check out this cutscene because this is another cutscene where the game kind of drops some hints about what is going on with both of these characters.
Mary?
Also, remember I said that she has a little butterfly tattoo? kind of like on her abdomen.
No,
You can kind of see it a
you're
little bit, I believe, in this cutscene.
Do I look like your girlfriend?
No, my late wife. I can't believe it.
Yep,
You
there
could
it
be
is.
her twin. Your face, your voice, just your hair and clothes are different.
My name is Maria. I don't look like a ghost, do I? See? Feel how warm I am?
You're really not Mary.
I told you, I'm Maria.
Sorry. I was confused.
Where are you going?
I'm looking for Mary. Have you seen her?
Didn't you say she died?
Oh yeah, 3 years ago. But I got a letter from her. She says she was waiting in our special place.
And that's here? Anyway, I haven't seen her. Is this your only special place?
That, of course, is a super blurry preview of the
Well,
tape
there's the
that you get in the
hotel,
hotel.
too, I guess. The one on the lake? I wonder if it's still there.
The Lakeview Hotel? Yeah, it's still there. So, the hotel was your special place, huh? I'll bet it was.
Okay. And then
Don't
he gets
get
all pissed
so
off.
mad. I was just joking. Anyway, it's not that way. It's this way.
Now, here's an important
You're
line.
coming with me?
You were gonna just leave me?
No, but...
With all these monsters around?
No, I just...
I'm all alone here. Everyone else is gone. I look like Mary, don't I? You loved her, right?
You can see the butterfly tattoo really clear in this shot.
Or maybe you hated her.
Don't be ridiculous.
So it's okay?
Yeah, fine.
Yeah, so there's a lot to unpack in that scene. Definitely, it absolutely tells you right up front that Maria is a really flirtatious, very, maybe a little promiscuous kind of character. She also notes that she can see the monsters, and remember, the only people that can really see the monsters are the people that are here in Silent Hill to be punished. So that's going to be James, that's going to be Eddie, and that's going to be Angela. It kind of starts to drop little hints that Maria is not a real person. But you can also tell right away, with her being a figment of James's imagination, that's this kind of like idealized version created of her in his head. He wants a really like promiscuous, very like sexualized version of Mary. And he creates that projection with Maria. And right away, she kind of also confirms like kind of soft confirm. She's like, I don't look like a ghost, do I? To kind of hint that it's not a ghost of his wife or anything like that. That's not exactly what she is. But then she takes his hand and puts it directly on her chest and says, see, feel how warm I am? And he's kind of like even kind of shocked a little bit. But so what we do for this segment, this is the little mini escort segment where basically Maria runs around with us for a bit until we get to a little bit into the next area, like the next major area. So she's hanging around with us in the town for the time being. It is possible for her to die. It's possible for you to also shoot her. If either of those things happen, it's game over. That being said, it's not like I know like escort missions tend to be kind of obnoxious in a lot of games. This one isn't too bad. For the most part, you really don't have to worry about her dying unless you're just being super kind of negligent with your placement. If you're just like running directly past enemies as they swing and stuff like that. for the most part, like, she's fine. One thing I also want to show in this park is the other statue on the other side. This one, the translated text, or the unredacted text for this one. Let me go ahead and pull it up because I actually forgot to pull this one up earlier. Let's see. Silent Hill 2, Victim of Persecution. Alright, so the full text for this one, the unredacted text, is going to say, Victim of Persecution by the Christians. Jennifer Carroll lived with pride and honor. What happened here shall never be forgotten. It's kind of interesting why they censored that one. I guess, I don't think that one's ever been confirmed if it's some sort of, like, very subtle reference to the Silent Hill religious cult, which is very not Christian. But the Silent Hill, the religious cult, is honestly, out of all the Silent Hill games, 2 is one of the ones where it is very minimal. I don't think the cult really comes into play at all in this game, outside of, maybe you could argue that the ceremony that's, you know, the ritual that's performed in the Rebirth Ending, that maybe that is kind of like a, you know, a ritual of the cult or something, but I don't think any of that's necessarily been confirmed. Let's go ahead and I guess we're good to leave. I know there's a couple more items that we can try to pick up on our way out. Like there should be one or... Whoa! God. Sorry, I forgot that one was there. So, alright, so we get a health drink. We start kind of moseying along. Now, if we want, we do have a couple of options as far as where we can go. We can try to go... Let's see what happens if we try to go this way. We'll just try to take some of the less explored paths, right? Try to really hit some of these nooks and crannies of the city. I mean, there's entire stuff that was designed in this town that, like, unless you're really going out of your way, like, you'll never notice it. Like, Andy Pizza. Look at how happy he looks. Free delivery. Their phone number is just all zeros, so... Also, hello Maximum October. Considering there are monsters around, she's handling it pretty well. Yeah, I think she's handling it how... She's handling it as needed for James to want to take her along. She's really... And it kind of goes into some of that in the sub-scenario, the Born from a Wish. Which I guess at some point we'll do a playthrough of that as well, just for completion's sake for the story. And plus there's a couple of things that it does provide some additional context and stuff on. But, yeah, she basically is just a figment of James's imagination. She was brought real by his desire for a Mary that suits his needs more. Hence the subtitle story, or the sub-scenario story, Born from a Wish, because that's literally what she is. So, walking around a bit more, we can see some more of these kind of just buildings and stuff. I think this might be one that we can go up. Yeah, sadly, nothing at the top of this one. It's really curious how there's a lot of buildings and stuff have... Oh, he's scooting. My man is moving. Schmoving out here. But... Let's see. I do think it's interesting they have some areas that you can kind of explore. Oh, good shit, Wagner! Top 8 at Glizzy? Let's go. Ended up at 7th. That is very nice. Very good stuff. Let's see. This is some more of that stuff that, like... There's a few different things that we can look at around here. It's like this little row of houses, like townhomes or something. There are a couple places where we can pick up items, like here's one right here. But for the most part, I don't think there's a whole lot down this way. And eventually we do kind of hit that brick wall of doom. Proceed no farther. Just wandering about. Could have sworn there was like something kind of important in one of these, which is why I'm checking all of them, but I don't remember exactly which one. I guess we'll probably just scoot along. I don't think there's anything too major out this way. So let's see where we're at. Actually, let's try to go up this one. No, there's nothing on that one either. Spooky game. Hello, Murmur. How you doing? I hope your day is going good. We're just kind of poking around the town, seeing if we bump into anything interesting. Yeah, it looks like we're not seeing a whole lot down that way. I think if we go down here, yeah. This has got one of the doors that will eventually come through later when everything's in like the dark world and stuff, and we're leaving the hospital. Ooh, my guy, leave me alone. Oh, what does that say? Give me your hand. Interesting. It's got, whoa, my god, it's got a little skull. Gnarly. Oh, you've never seen any Silent Hill. There are going to be so many spoilers in this. I will slap the roof of this game. This bad boy, or slap the roof of this stream. This bad boy can fit so many spoilers in it. Do take care, watch at your own risk. But yeah, the atmosphere in these games is like top notch. The music, the eerie fog, you know, even just like some of the stuff that's like, you know, gone on to become like hallmarks like of the series, like the white noise on the radio. When you hear the radio start acting up, you know that it's, you know, like stuff is things are happening. You know, it's time to get spooky. Yeah, I think at this point, yeah, we could just go straight. So now we're back where we were. Oh yeah, the bloody footprints. Oh my god. Okay. The discography is phenomenal. The entire soundtrack for both 2 and 3 is like so good. Super, super good. Very good, very haunting, kind of like this type of ambient music. Oh, there's a sign for the Lakeview Hotel. It tells us that it's further down the road. Oh no! Okay, I guess this might help us keep from getting the Maria ending a little bit, because we're kind of letting her get hit sometimes. But yeah, you can see that's actually a decent little picture of the Lakeview Hotel, and it says it's 1.6 miles away. And then, geez, there are dudes out and about, enemies in the streets. Yeah, to touch on some things that we had mentioned in the last stream, there are a couple of things that we will be checking throughout. One of the signs that we found on one of the buildings as we were exploring the early game, the town in the early game, is we found a sign that mentions what was it? Vanishing envelopes, or disappearing envelopes, I think is what it maybe said. I can't remember the exact quote, but there's something that talks about disappearing envelopes or something to that effect. So let's go ahead and check our inventory and look at the letter from Mary. So the description is still the same. If we look at the letter itself, at this point, it is still the entire same letter that we saw before. So currently there haven't been any changes to it. We are going to check it at a few different points in the game, just to kind of see how it changes, because it's pretty cool. So I think we're at the next part where we need to just kind of go into the bowling alley. You can take a detour to the shoot, I actually meant to go there. There's a Texaco, essentially a Texaco gas station next door, and there's an optional weapon that you can get there, the steel pipe, and it's just sticking out of the hood of a car. It's like the engine got stabbed with it. But you actually don't have to go to this little gas station at all. It's really easy to miss this weapon. The game kind of gives you a hint. If you listen, you can hear the engine running. And we see smoke coming out of it. And if we walk over to it, we just grab it out of it. Yeah, I had no idea the gas station was here until probably about my third playthrough as well. Also, hello, Bromender. One time at a rave, the artist you had visuals. There were just different angles of room 312. Jesus, that sounds like an experience. Oh yeah, it's a Texan. That's who that is. So I guess you could say it's either a Texaco or a Exxon. Why not both? But yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Oh, we're going the wrong way. I don't think that there's anything else like down in the gas station area. It's really just the pipe. Maybe there's like a health drink or some bullets or something on the ground, but in the interest of saving time, I'm just gonna walk past it. So instead, we're gonna go into the bowling alley, the Bowlorama. You notice this is an area that has other characters, other real people in it, or at least one other real person in it. Coincidentally, Mary does not enter in the bowling alley. She says, she gives us a little excuse that she hates bowling. So let's go ahead and... Oh no, I walked past the entrance. But we'll go ahead and go in here and there's another little cutscene with Eddie and Laura where we kind of, every cutscene in this game is meaningful in that they all either drop some kind of breadcrumbs about characters, like for character development stuff.
I hate bowling.
I didn't come here to play, you know.
Hurry back, okay?
That's James and Mary's room. No one knew what you were talking about? Oh no. That'd be insane. So
what'd you do? Robbery? Murder?
Nah, nothing like that.
Huh! You're just a gutless fatso.
What'd you have to say that for?
I thought you said the cops were after you.
No, I just ran because I was scared. I don't know what the cops are doing.
this is some of my favorite
But if
music
you
in
did
this
something
game.
bad, why don't
This
you
is
just
such a
say
good
you were
song.
sorry? Well, I guess I run away a lot too.
It's no good. They wouldn't listen. Nobody will ever forgive me. Did you find the lady you're looking for? What's her name? Mary?
So you can tell that tells us a little bit more about both Eddie and Laura. For Eddie, it kind of reveals probably a little bit more about him. It also is kind of interesting that, one of the first things that Laura says in that scene is, so what'd you do? Robbery? Murder? It's almost as if she knows why people are drawn to Silent Hill. And again, this is one of those things that this is just my personal conjecture, is my opinion. A lot of the symbolism and a lot of even the characters themselves is widely open to debate, and a lot of it is often discussed even to this day in the scene of Silent Hill 2 fans, or just Silent Hill fans in general. So, but yeah, so he talks about that he was running from the cops, and that he was scared, and it kind of hints that he did something, and he ended up kind of running to Silent Hill as an escape to that. To anyone who knows the full thing about Eddie, he actually shot a football player bully in his high school in the knee. He references this in his last cutscene with James, where he says, he'll have a hard time playing football on what's left of that knee and all that stuff. And he also shot and killed a dog, which is why my stance is fuck Eddie. Fuck Eddie all day. That guy sucks. Bro, like, I'm fine with shooting a dude in the knee, but the second you kill a dog, I'm like, no, you're a villain to me. So, anyway, so we go in here and Eddie's just chilling and eating some pizza. Some pizza, as James says.
Eddie?
Oh, you're...
James. We met in the apartment building?
Yeah, I remember. But...
Are you alone here, Eddie?
No.
You're right. He gets growled at in one of the endings. We'll see that when we get around to the dog ending. That's one of my favorites.
Bye-bye.
Wait! Come back!
Oh, now
Eddie, let's go
now
back.
it's time for James to be all self-righteous good guy.
Why?
Laura. Is that her name?
That's what she said.
This town is full of monsters. How can you sit there and eat pizza?
How can you sit here and try to high road Eddie?
Said a fatso like me would just slow her down.
Forget you.
Pizza. The kind of like off voice acting is it's honestly like kind of charming. At least to me. I've mentioned before that I kind of like how it, you know, some people feel it gives it kind of like a dreamlike haze to the game, like it makes it all kind of feel a little bit more surreal, which I do agree with, but there's certain lines or certain scenes that are just extra memorable because of little stuff like pizza. It does definitely kind of add to the strange. It ups the vibes. Like atmosphere-wise, I feel this game just absolutely knocks it out of the park. So coincidentally, again, Maria not present at the same time Laura is. You go over to Maria and she's like, "Oh, I just missed her."
Did a little girl run out of here?
Yeah, she was too fast for me. Aren't you gonna go after her?
Yep, and I would agree with that, Bromander. Like, nobody sounds like... Things sound a little off, and that actually describes the kind of unnerving vibe of this game really well. Is like, things are a little... Like, something is amiss. Oh yeah, if you notice there's some little graffiti of people bowling and whatnot. The little details are really nice. Like, that's totally unneeded texture work. They could have just put grainy crap on those, but they didn't. They went a little step farther, and it is really nice, in my opinion. We got some torn down flyers and whatnot. Alright, so we go in here, go through the sense. Radio? What's with that radio? I think as far as like classic survival horror, like terrible voice acting, for me, RE1 is GOAT. King. You were almost a chill sandwich.
She went through there.
The master of unlocking. Like, very alone. That guy deserved an award.
Is there any other way?
It was so
yeah,
good.
There is. Right through there.
So here's another part where it's another, this specific cutscene that we're about to see. All it is Maria opening a door. Opening a locked door. But if you really pay a little bit, like, if you really kind of think about what the purpose of this scene is, it's like, well, why did they even render like a cutscene of this? It's how exactly it's happening. She shows where, you know, it has 3 locks on it, and she has the keys hidden in her clothing, like tucked away in kind of sexual places. And you can see as she gets each one, like she gets one out of her boot and kind of bends over in front of them, and there's one that's implied that it's like in her sweater, like in her bra or something, and she kind of turns off screen and does this real sly thing. If you watch, you know, most people notice that because that's like the obvious focal point of the scene. Pay attention to James though. If you watch when she's doing that stuff, he's like, when she turns and tries and goes for the key like in her shirt, he starts kind of like trying to peek over her shoulder and shit. And it's like, hold on a second. Like, James is, this is one of those cutscenes where I feel if you watch the character that isn't really the focus of this cutscene, it's pretty interesting. So we'll go ahead and take a look at this one.
It's no good. It's locked.
So she's like, step aside, you know, pull this one out of my skirt. And then you can see he's like, you know, he's looking respectfully. What the fuck are you doing, James? Anyway. Yeah, he literally gets up and like tiptoes it. That's like, there's stuff that that the game, like, once you really realize these things, the game is like constantly like dropping hints and stuff and really just kind of being like, nah, like this isn't even really a story about him trying to find his late wife. It's really him realizing what a giant piece of shit he is. So, or his brain trying to break that mental block and help him come to terms with that. So we go up here. This is also this song is another like super banger of a track. Really good, chill, like trip hop-ish vibes. I was a really big fan of trip hop. Still am. I think it's a really good genre. And Akira Yamaoka has some really good like chill tunes. Now, if you guys remember, in the rest stop at the very start of the game, we saw a poster that featured Maria, a poster for Heaven's Night. This is Heaven's Night, and it is a strip club where Maria works. You can tell they got a little bar, they got some stuff. It's very, very obviously implied to be a strip club. It's got the pole, the stage, the sexy neon lighting over here, all that stuff. But this is just to show you where Maria like works. And you actually, in the start of the sub-scenario Born From a Wish, you actually start in, there's a room that they created just for that scenario that's like one of the upstairs rooms just then that we passed. And she starts off with a little monologue in that room. Yeah, the neon lady. The paradise lady. No trespassing. Vendors and visitors must register at main office. I'm pretty sure I would not be able to read that on the original release.
Over
She's
there!
just skipping along. Into the Brookside Hospital we go. This is most of the early Silent Hills had like a trademark, like they all have a hospital level, and this is the hospital for Silent Hill 2. It is one of my favorite areas in this game. I thought it was very well done. We pick up the map for it, and now we get to go through the fun part of marking off a bunch of doors on the map. This is just one of those things I always do anytime I enter a new area. Even if I already know like which doors I need to go through, I don't know. I just like having a completely marked off map. I'm a bit particular in that fashion, I suppose. So we're finding most of the doors here, like this is one of those areas where it looks bigger than it is really. Because if you look at the map, there's like a gazillion rooms on it. You know, this is just one floor and there's all these, but most of them are locked. Like most of them are broken. There are a couple of locked ones though. So like that one that we just passed a second ago. Right, so now we can go ahead and go into the reception office. Yes, I am absolutely playing the Enhanced Edition. I will probably not play another version ever again. Like this is really super well done. T5. You have a friend like that too with the map squares. Oh yeah, Symphony of the Night is a demon game. Oh no, that is also me. I can't do a playthrough of Symphony of the Night if I don't have all the squares. You know, if I don't have the, what is it, like, I don't remember the max percentage for the map, but I have to have all the squares filled in. Otherwise, I'll just feel like it's like, I missed something, you know? It's just irksome. So there's a few different memos and stuff that we can pick up or look at in the hospital, so we're going to try to check those. This is one that is just more kind of flavor text. It doesn't really relate to anything. It's just talking about, you know, I guess maybe kind of cluing in that this is a psychiatric hospital. primarily. So if we go here, that's talking about some of the patients. Jack Davis. He has attempted suicide 3 times in the past for unknown reasons. Although he's normally a model patient who follows doctors and nurses' orders, he must be watched closely due to his past pattern of sudden and violent suicide attempts. Joseph Barkin. His illness seems to be rooted in the fact that he believes he is guilty of causing his daughter's death. His symptoms suggest a psychotic break in paranoid delusions. That's a pretty obvious big hint to, it's like, James. Normally calm but has a tendency towards violence when excited. Joshua Lewis. History of hospitalization as well as numerous assault, battery, and other violent offenses. He has a strong persecution complex and a tendency to solve things through violence. Extreme caution necessary. That actually is another big hint, because smothering your wife is pretty violent, and that is how James chose to solve a pretty signature problem of his character in this game. So we can go ahead and pick this up. This is going to give us the ugly, the purple bulky, and a note here. The potential for this illness exists in all people, and, under the right circumstances, any man or woman would be driven, like him, to the other side. This is kind of talking about the other world, or the fog world of Silent Hill. The other side, perhaps, may not be the best way to phrase it. After all, there is no wall between here and there. It lies on the borders where reality and unreality intersect. It is a place both close and distant. Some say it isn't even an illness. I cannot agree with them. I'm a doctor, not a philosopher, even a psychiatrist. But sometimes I have to ask myself this question. It's true that to us, his imaginings are nothing but the inventions of a busy mind, but to him, there simply is no other reality. Furthermore, he is happy there. So why, I ask myself, why in the name of healing must we drag him painfully into the world of our own reality? Something else is written by hand. I got the key from Joseph. It's probably the key to that box. And that is the purple bowl key that we pick up. It's essentially talking about, this patient. It's like, if he's lost in his delusion and that makes him happy, what's wrong with, why take him out of that? It's kind of an interesting parallel for us, like a couple of the endings for James, where he basically, like the Maria ending in particular, he kind of gives into the delusion and is like, fuck it, I'm just going to stay in Silent Hill and live with Maria. Right, so now we've got these, you can hear creepy ventilator noises when you approach the patient wing over here. The atmosphere in the whole hospital is like extra spooky. I was a really big fan of this area. First floor, up to the second floor. Let's go ahead and take the second floor. There's going to be nurses in here. One thing that is maybe a little hard to tell, or it might be a little hard to show you guys. One thing that is, actually we kind of got lucky. This is a good camera angle. So one thing that a lot of people didn't really notice until Masahiro Ito posted it on his Twitter is the iconic bubblehead nurses in this game actually have, if you look very closely, their face is essentially like a baby's face. And like childbirth or just like children, babies, rebirth is a pretty big theme in this game, and I believe that's what that was alluding to. Another thing that's cool too is they have like a little, almost like a polygon in front that looks like some little teeth, and that's what is really interesting is the community found that polygon and realized it's like, hey, they have these little like sharp, like really jagged teeth. And Masahiro Ito posted and was like, no, they don't. Like, that's just what's in front of their actual face. And he posted some picture of it turned to the side, and it's like really clearly a baby's face, and everybody just kind of lost their shit. Masahiro Ito is a very cool Twitter follow. If you like seeing really spooky art, he posts a lot of his concept art for, stuff that he drew back in college and stuff. And he, every now and then, will drop really cool, like, arcane knowledge of Silent Hill. Yeah, so we've got Maria in here. We can't really do a whole lot in terms of checking that. It's a magazine. There is a thing that we need to grab out of this lab jacket, which is the examination room key. And yeah, it's super gnarly, right? Huh. Nice. Got the Sports Illustrated poster hanging up. I think we can go in this one too. This is where we get the bent needle that is in one of Laura's teddy bears, or at least one of the teddy bears that she's playing with here in the hospital.
What's wrong?
I just pricked myself.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Look at that picture of that dog on that poster. I never noticed that. He's wearing like a little tux or something. Check him out. I guess it's not a tux, it's just a little like harness or something, but cute pupper. What a good boy. Right, we've got the not Coca-Cola over here. We've got some sort of picture down in the lower portion of this locker, but I can't really make it out. It looks like it's a couple of dudes sitting or something. More importantly, we get the shotgun here. There's also some other like personal effects of the nurses or staff or whoever. We've got like this dude on a bike. Got Jack up here apparently. I can't even read what that says. It's like so always full of worries. I don't know. There's some things I really wish we had like actual like I wish that we had access to actual like uncompressed textures and stuff. 'Cause it'd be really cool to see what some of the text on some of this like smaller, blurrier stuff is. That's the nurse station, but it's locked or broken, busted, whatever you want to call it. So going around here, this one I believe is going to be broken. Yeah, I think all of these around here, that's definitely broken. These around this corner are definitely broken. But there's a leg. Leggy boy. Go ahead and put Mr. Legs out of his misery. I ain't trying to be in the nurse station. I ain't trying to be nowhere. Nowhere in this creepy hospital. So this is another one of those areas that there's like a couple of rooms that we can check. So we're gonna do that. Not a whole lot going on in some of these rooms. Scattered paper is just... A lot of times, like, if you're just kind of randomly examining things, a lot of times it's, like, typical, like, old school Resident Evil, or, you know, with it being an older Silent Hill, a lot of it's like, yeah, it's just nothing. Nothing of interest here. It's just stuff. Whatever. But we do have this typewriter. There's a typewriter here. I've got no use for this. Wait a minute, what's this? There's a sheet of carbon paper still stuck in the typewriter. I can still read the imprint left on it. I know it. I know the number of the box, 7275. It can't help him anymore. The button key doesn't scare me, so nobody can stop. Who I am is... I don't know who I am is who I am is who I am is. Sure thing, buddy. So, oops. Sorry. Sorry, Maria, I'm not trying to, like, bump into you continuously. That's gonna be... Let's take a look at the, No, it's not that one. It's the... imprint on carbon paper. 7275 is the number of the box. The button key. 7275. So when we get to the box with the hair in it, we just need to know that's what that is. I believe that number is RNG as well, if I remember. Speaking of, someone had asked in our previous stream about, you know, what stuff is RNG, and some of the puzzle solutions are RNG. Lapis eye key, got bullets, or shotgun shells. Is this one of the rooms? No, there's one of the rooms in here in the hospital is one of the ones that has a 50-50 chance of random spooky sound effect, where it has this breaking glass when you enter it. We actually did see, or did get to hear that sound on our previous stream. We got the lucky RNG and were able to hear it. Hopefully we'll hear it again. Yeah, it's not this room. I think it actually is after we drop off Maria. It's James by his lonesome. Yeah, we're still in the like fog world version of Silent Hill. things haven't gotten too spooky just yet. Should be able to go in here, yeah. Man, the lighting is so good. Like, this is one of those... The hospital is one of the areas that I feel the lighting is excellent. Like, you can... It really feels like you're walking around on, like, tiles, you know. The texture work in here is great. Look at these walls. Look at these dirty, like, stained, gross mattresses. You can see the chipped, kind of peeling wood on the frames that the mattresses are standing up on. Lots of really cool details in the hospital here. Whoop. Alright, so let's go, now that we've got those first couple of keys, we've got picked up the key items from this floor, and we've been everywhere we need to go. So for this point we can go back and go to the 3rd floor. And if we go up here, there's a couple more nurses. I think there's one. Let's see, we probably need to get moving. Yeah, there's one down here, maybe 2. Yeah, I guess it's just the one. Oh no, I hear another one, I think, walking around. No, it was just Maria. So, walking around here, again, just some objects laying around just for atmosphere. Just some random junk and things. Alright, there's not a whole lot to go. That's, of course, the room that we come out of once we get a pyramid headed off the roof. Now, for this one, we want to... We know that one actually is not the button key, because the button key is one of the keys on the box. So instead we want to go... I think we actually will need to go back down to use the key. Yeah, we need to use one of the keys that we picked up back on the 1st floor. So let's go back down there. I mean, you can tell the room to... or the roof requires its own key. We'll get that one here in a bit. There's definitely a little bit of key hunting and swapping and stuff. Use a key to go in this place, get another key once you're there. This is going to be one of those scenarios. So now we're in here and we can look around. Some medical records. Not too much going on. Maria's kind of standing in the way a little bit. There are a couple of pickups in here. Shotgun shells. This is a nice little reference to Silent Hill 1. There's a memo hanging on the refrigerator. Food only. Do not store drugs. The drugs that were stored in the fridge being one of the kind of important plot points of Silent Hill 1. And we've got... I don't think there's too much else that we can look at, per se. We do need to look at this little whiteboard over here, because that tells us how to get into that 3rd floor patient wing. This is one of the ones, I think this one is static. I think if you can just remember what this is, you can actually skip this segment, like skip picking up the exam room key and skip even going in here. You can just type it in if you know it. I always forget it every time, so I have to check it. But, let's see. We need to go the other way. Back down here so we can get back into the 2nd floor. Or 3rd floor. So that one was 7335. Going back up to the 3rd. Now we're just going to punch that in right here. There is actually, on hard puzzle difficulty, there's like a puzzle for one of these keys, like one of these button keys. I think it might be that one, but there's one of them that the puzzle, like the riddle for it, is just insane. It's super hard. It took me forever to figure it out. But I am going to do a hard action and hard puzzle run at some point, so y'all will get to see how messed up the hard riddles are, because they are difficult. This cutscene is kind of interesting too.
James. Wait a minute. I'm kind of tired.
Weird. The person who looks exactly like his terminally ill wife is also maybe terminally ill.
You should rest.
Good guy James here.
So comfy.
I'm gonna go look for her. For Laura. I'll be back as soon as I can.
Interesting that he almost kind of hesitated. And then, oh, for Laura, like he wanted her to be sure. It's like, no, not Mary. I mean, you know, we've established that she is my late wife and she is dead. I'm going to go look for Laura is who I'm looking for. So one thing that's kind of neat about this room, this is where we get the roof key. You can actually talk to her to get a little extra line of dialogue.
I'll be okay soon. Did you find Laura?
One thing that's neat, though, is you can actually come back here. Well, here's another
James,
line.
I want to ask you something. What if you can't find Mary? What will you do?
I haven't thought about that.
Interesting. So, one thing that's neat, after this cutscene, you can actually come back to this room and kind of like check on her and see how she's doing. How often you do that, how often you return to this room, is one of the triggers that affects which ending you get. If you check on her often, that the game is looking at it like you care about Maria, so that actually gives you points towards getting the Maria ending. It is one of the many things that the game looks at. If I remember right, the blood in this room was supposed to be red, but it was turned green for some... I don't think it was even like a censoring reason, like it was for like some sort of like technical reason. And it was supposed to be turned back to red, and it just wasn't. So there's a reason. That's the reason why the blood in here is green. Right, we do need to also check... Let's see. I guess we can go in... Yeah, we can't go in there. We gotta be in the other world before we can do that. Let's see how far I was. I need to go down to 6. So I need to pass this one. There we go. Then 7, then 8, then 9, then this one has mattresses. 11. Just a health drink. Not a whole lot going on in here. Save point. We don't need it. So anyway, I started blasting. Get out of your legs. 12, 13, and 14. 14 being where the box is that the patient was referring to earlier. Luis, I'll take care of you forever. It's my destiny. I honestly have no idea what that message is talking about. I think it's just talking about there's 4 locks. I don't know. That's kind of a stretch. What was it? Was it... See, I'm going to have to check. I can never remember these. So, let's take a look at the imprint on the carbon paper. 7275. That's it. So we'll go ahead and hit the 7275. We'll go ahead and unlock the button key that no longer scares that dude. I don't think we have this one yet. But we do already have a couple of the other keys. So we've got the lapis eye key. That unlocks all the like chains and stuff. Also, if you want to save a little time, you can combine. This is one of the puzzles where you can combine the puzzle item solutions and use them all at once if you want to save like a couple seconds. I just use them one at a time. Who cares? Then this one unlocks the big slot-looking key in the center. And then all we need is this one. And this is one that I believe we do not have yet. Yeah, if I remember right, this is the one that we've got to get from the, in the rubber room, the padded room, where, after Pyramid Head knocks us off the roof. Which I want to say, let's see, we've got the bent needle, we got the roof key, so that's where we're going. So let's go ahead and head up to the roof. straight roofing it. Hello, Exotic Jam. How you doing? We're over here just having a comfy, spooky stream. Just talking shop on some Silent Hill 2 stuff. Just pointing out little things and neat stuff. Oh, you only played the first one. You guys are killing me. I feel bad. It's like, this is spoiling such a good game. Up here on the roof, we do see the notebook that is left behind by one of the patients. I always thought this was this is some interesting flavor text. There's something on the floor. Is this a diary? Again, the texture work in the background is so crisp. Even in the original releases, you can actually, if you just look at it, you can read. They wrote out the actual text. May 9th, rain. Stared out the window all day. Peaceful here, nothing to do. Still not allowed to go outside. May 10th, still raining. Talked with the doctor a little. Would they have saved me if I didn't have a family to feed? I know I'm pathetic, weak. Not everyone can be strong. May 11th, rain again. The meds made me feel sick today. If I'm only better when I'm drugged, then who am I anyway? May 12th, rain as usual. I don't want to cause any more trouble for anyone, but I'm a bother either way. Can it really be such a sin to run instead of fight? Some people may say so, but they don't have to live in my shoes. I may be selfish, but it's what I want. Suicidal ideation is something that is a recurring theme in this game. It's too hard like this. It's just too hard. May 13th. It's clear outside. The doctors told me I've been released, that I've got to go home. And one really nice detail, if you look at that picture in the background of the diary, you can tell after they write I, they just kind of, like, scribble. Like, they really just kind of don't know what to do at that point. Neat little detail. Silent Hill is a ton of fun. Oh yeah, you already played the first. Gosh, you guys gotta play this game. But, so now we're wandering around. As soon as you approach this little segment by the fence is when our boy shows up. And he hits you with a standing heavy slash. He hits you with that, like, Cliff 5H. Oh, here you can see, if you look really close on the texture on the little red cross, that's the thing I was talking about, where it's actually like a screenshot that they superimposed on it for texture. A screenshot of that first cutscene with Laura. Also, this is the only cutscene that you take damage from, if I remember right. It will always put you in, like, red blinking status, like, essentially it always, like, almost kills you. I don't think it actually can kill you if you're already down at, like, a point of health or something. I think it just keeps you there. This is another thing that is surprisingly a little different. This number is actually one that could change. Weirdly enough, I don't know if this is maybe if this texture has only been replaced with one in the Enhanced Edition. I don't think this would be the case, but oddly enough, it looks like we got the same one that we got last time. So I think that's going to be 6565. It's kind of smudgy, so it's hard to tell. Turn the numbers. Better not forget them, so I'll write them down here. The other one, my secret name. You can tell the interesting kind of like simple typo matches the Luis, I'll take care of you forever, almost kind of implying that they're both written by the same patient. Of course, we never find out who it is or anything like that. It's just little interesting curiosities. These other two doors are broken. So we go out here, and let's see. Now we can go and get the hair from the box. I always think it's funny how they have you jump through all these hoops to unlock this box. Like, there's 4 different locks on it, 4 different places, you know. And then you unlock it, and it's literally just like, let's see, what was it? 6565? We'll try it. 6, 5, 6. Yeah, 6565. That is slightly different from last time. I think the last time it was like 6566. I don't know. But yeah, as far as this puzzle, I always thought it was funny how, or this, you know, not really puzzle, but this thing you gotta unlock this box. It's like you open it and it's like, wow, it's fucking nothing. And then it's like, oh, hair. That's valuable. Thanks. Thanks for making me jump through all those hoops for the thing I have like 500,000 of on my head. So, going along, now we've got the bent needle from the teddy bear. I've got to see which floor it's on. Yeah, it's actually right here. We got the bent needle from the teddy bear. We've got the hook, or that's going to be our hook for what we're making. And then we've got the piece of hair, which is long. And that's pretty much the hair's only quality. You have to do the combine for this one. You can't use these one at a time. And we just MacGyver a solution. There's another place in the Civil War prison where James also kind of MacGyvers a solution when things found in his environment. When we make the makeshift door handle, the trap door. Oh, it's an elevator key. Neat. So now we can go to the elevator and finally unlock it. And the cool thing about, like, the, interesting thing about the elevator is, that gives us access to the patient wing of floor 1. If you guys remember, the door that goes to the patient wing of floor 1 is broken, so this is how you get back here. It definitely got some more creepy ventilator noises in here. They're really strong in this room. Let's actually go and try to look at some of the other doors. I believe they're all broken, but this is another way to get down here. Back onto this first floor area. Oh, not that one. Yeah, so back this way. So now that we're down here, we can check some of these, and we're about to see a cutscene with Laura. More godlike music in this cutscene. She's having a great time with that teddy bear.
Laura?
Huh?
Hmm?
You know my name?
Eddie told me.
That big fat blabbermouth.
Laura is
How do you know
such a
about
little brat.
Mary?
What's the big deal?
Why can't you just tell me?
You gonna yell at me if I don't?
No.
She knows about
I
him.
won't.
Like, she's on to his shit from like minute 1. She gets the bad
I was
person
friends
vibes from
with
him
Mary.
very strongly.
We met at the hospital.
She also reveals
It
that they
was
were
last
both at the
year.
hospital last year.
You liar! Laura,
This is one of the
Fine,
first
don't
clues that
believe
she's not like a real living
But-
person.
last year, Mary was already...
One of the little breadcrumbs they drop to kind of keep you guessing as to
I'm
whether
sorry,
she's
Laura.
a real character or not.
Anyway, let's go.
And because he was being kind of a
We can
dick
talk
to
about
Laura,
this
she
later.
decides to pull a
This is
prank
no
on him.
place for a kid. There are all sorts of strange things around here. I can't believe you haven't even gotten a scratch on you.
This is another one.
Why should I?
She doesn't see any of this, like everything being all
Wait,
gross
wait.
and
There's something I
deteriorating,
gotta get.
and all the
Later,
monsters and
okay?
stuff.
But
This
it's
all just
really
looks normal to her.
important.
What is it?
A letter from Mary.
Huh?
I wanna go get it. Is that okay?
Yes. Yes.
And because he was kind of a dick to her just then, she's gonna play a little, what she sees as a little prank on him. And because he's, a nut job who sees monsters, he's
Come
gonna...
on, hurry up.
This is gonna be a lot
it in
more
there?
serious of a situation for James than it is for Laura. Which is why he's freaking out and she's looking at it like,
in the
haha.
back.
It's in the backpack.
What are you doing, Laura?
It's further back in the desk.
Laura! What are you doing?
Texture work is nuts on the monsters
I
here.
tricked you.
Open the door, Laura.
Why should I? I'm a liar, right? Want me to open it? Huh? Huh? Do ya?
This is also where
What's the
you can
matter
tell
with
James's like true self kind of slips out. And he loses his temper
her?
right
Okay,
here.
I guess I won't open it. I think I'll just leave you like this.
You snotty little brat! Open up!
Why?
And then she's like
You.
super offended.
Laura?
You hurt me.
She's like, fuck you then. Hello, beautiful swan. How you doing? And then boss fight. I forgot to prepare. We need to put the shotgun shells on for this one. If you happen to aim just right and they're both close, you can actually hit more than one of these guys at a time. It's just right. You can tell on easy their attack patterns are a lot easier on easy action difficulty. They just kind of bumble around more. Instead of on normal, they're a bit more aggressive and tend to go more. They tend to go after James more. I actually don't know what these guys are supposed to really represent. They're just like, kind of just like creepy patient things. I don't know. Whoop. Oh, I'm about to walk into it. Okay. I said it last time, this is my favorite cutscene in this game. Is this particular one. The cinematography here is so good. This is the general direction.
James.
It is, actually, yeah.
James.
And now we're outside. We're in the garden area, which is like 2 feet wide, super tiny. Just like a real psychiatric hospital. This is it's like, oh, this is the outdoors area, and it's the size of a closet. So, we're already at like almost 400 handgun bullets. I think we'll be okay. Oh, these are Crow shotgun shells. I never noticed the brand. And these are penguin bullets. Penguin bullets. I never noticed that either. Here, we'll go ahead and put the, Oh, you think it's sick? Yeah, this game is like absolutely super sick. This is my favorite game of all time. For many reasons, as I am going over as we're exploring. So you guys may have noticed in that previous cutscene we heard the air raid siren, right? That's usually a pretty good indicator. I don't think it's 100%, but it's usually an indicator in this game of when things are transitioning from the fog world that James has been kind of like meandering his way through up to now to the other world, which is where everything is pretty fucked up. You know, before it was just like, oh, it's just like kind of gross, but essentially like an abandoned building. This is where there's like bloody, rusty, you know, like everything is like kind of a step further down that. We also see some really weird architecture, like whatever this, you know, it's like a big fan with like a plastic sheet around it, or some skin or something. Like it's just, you know, there's a lot creepier, a lot grosser texture work in the other world. Like all this. That's such an introduction. I really like the camera angle, how it's like right over his head when you walk into this room. It gives you a very clear shot of like, this is how everything looks now. There's a lot of little clever direction in this game. Oops, I didn't mean to go there yet. If you accidentally go in the elevator at the wrong time, the door open and close buttons actually work on the elevator. So we can just use it to go back out. And let's explore this floor for a moment. That's an interesting painting thing. Also, you'll notice some of the nurses, that's one of the sound effects that's 50% chance. And we heard it twice. What the fuck? I don't think I've ever heard that. I don't think I've ever seen that sound effect play 2 times in the same run. That's a... Guys, I'm getting creeped out. What is going on? What the fuck? Like, never seen that happen. Yeah, my game is haunted, right? See, but that's little stuff like that is why I love this game. Like, there's little stuff. Every time I play it, I see something or notice something, some detail or some shit just happens that I've never seen before, and it's like, God, it's so good. Also, the rooms are like way different. Everything has this like weird like plastic or something all over everything. The sheets on the beds are like this really weird kind of like bunched up, wrinkled material of some sort. One thing I always thought that's cool about the texture work is there's honestly a lot of places in Silent Hill 2 and especially in Silent Hill 3 where a lot of times you're walking around and it's like, huh, is that just like a plastic sheet or something, or is that like flesh? There's certainly some interesting, almost like Rorschach test where it's like, well, it's however you interpret it kind of texture work in this series, especially in the earlier games. I'm gonna be thinking about that breaking glass shit. I've never seen it do that. Like, you know, beating this game umpteen times, never seen glass break like that where it happens more than once. And 3 times? The game is full of surprises. So we know we're on floor 1. Let's go ahead and go up to floor 2. Let's take them one at a time. I think this is where we start to see some of the really gnarly looking like otherworld nurses, which you can tell are like extra gross. See, that's an otherworld nurse. Then we have one of the regular Bogworld nurses. I want to say they're actually identical. Like, I don't think it's not like the otherworld one isn't like a powered up version or anything like that. It's just like an alternate appearance that you will see in the otherworld as well. In addition to the standard nurse design that we've already seen a couple times. Yeah, the stomp is like he really grinds his foot down on it, like, and stay down. This is the day room. You can tell again there's stuff that's just covered up. There's a lot of plastic or sheets or whatever is going on. We've got the fridge that we can't open because James has wimpy baby arms and he cannot open a fridge by himself. What a weenie. So, it's no good. Door's too heavy. He's like firm with the stomp. Yeah, he's like pretty grossed out. Let's see. Alright, so let's go ahead and I guess we can... Yeah, let's go ahead and check in here. Oh, it's broken. Can't go there yet. Or not yet, but we can't go there on this floor. So now we're just going to mark off a couple of doors. I think we already got the one on the other side. Yes, we need to go to M4. But you can tell the doors are labeled in the regular, like in the Fog Hospital. They're not labeled here, they just are like big sheets and stuff. Another sheet and plastic covered, gross looking room. Again, the texture work on the tiles on the floor is like really impressive to me. Oh, someone had asked in the previous playthrough if it's possible to get to the room where you need to use the flashlight battery, and I said no, it's not, and this is the room where you get it, and I'm going to show you guys why. When you get here, which we want to go ahead and pick up this piece of paper, I was locked up inside the basement's basement. It was so small and dark, and I was so afraid. I dropped my precious ring, but I will never, ever go back there. That's just giving you a hint. The ring's in the or one of the rings is in the basement. You see the hands here, apparently behind some behind this whatever this plastic or whatever wallpaper stuff is covering up. You can see it makes you get the battery first, then you get the storeroom key. So you will absolutely, it is not possible to skip the battery by the time you get to the room where you need it. So let's go ahead and go up to the 3rd floor. Creepy. Sometimes with the plastic there's like weird shapes or stuff behind it. There's a lot of really subtle things that really kind of add to the atmosphere here. Is that one behind us? Yeah, I think it's down here. Another otherworld nurse being all gross and stuff. Alright, let's just go since we're already down here. We'll just check them one at a time. I think this one? Yeah. So we get an Ampoule, which is a pretty busted healing item. They heal you to... I can't remember if it heals you to full health or if it's just a big heal. But the nice thing about Ampoules is that they actually apply a slow, like, regen effect for the next, I think it's like a couple of minutes or something. They're really good for boss fights for that reason. Piece of paper, just some doodle, something's written on it. She is an angel, no one knows. I can see the lady of the door. They cannot walk along her bridge of thread. They fall from the weight of their crimes. Like bloated and ugly corpses, their sins, she devours them. Sin and sinner alike, she saves me, she is an angel. I was talking about, obviously, the hands lady that we can see down there. You can tell, like, one thing that I've always thought is interesting is that it's kind of implied that the sheets and stuff that are covering up this plastic, it's almost like, you know, like with those hands that were reaching up for something. It almost implies that, like, there's some sort of painting all over a lot of the hospital, but that's what the plastic is covering up. Of course, we don't really get to see any of that stuff for sure, so there's no way to know. That's just another thing that I've personally thought is like, that'd be neat if that's what's going on. So, just going down the line. Definitely some weird, like, distorted ventilator noises in here, like really heavy breathing. If you guys remember, as James notices when you check the bed, this is the room that Maria was in. When you're in the other world, she is no longer here. We also see there are empty medicine bottles here. Is this what Maria was taking? Is Maria sick now too? Just kind of like further establishing the connection between Maria and Mary. Kind of reminding James of the terminal illness of his wife. And we can go in here. There's definitely a couple dudes in here. We need to take them out real quick. We'll hit him with the stomp of disgust. Gotta grind your heel in to make sure that they stay dead. Lock's broken. Yeah, one of the things that the Enhanced Edition fixed, it's actually a really small change, but the size of the blood puddles was wrong in the original PC release. The Enhanced Edition restores them so they are back to their correct size. Little touches like that are stuff that I really appreciate in mods like this. So this is the room where, after we get the weird elevator game show thing, you come back here and there's the super fancy box where you punch in the answers to the code. As you can tell, it doesn't pop up. It doesn't show up right away. That box is only in that room after you've had that cutscene. Not a whole lot going on down here, just more covered up stuff. Oh, that's where we just were. So, let me make sure I didn't miss any. Yeah, we should be good to go ahead and hit this. Now this one is a bit different from the stairwell from before. We go up and there is no way onto the roof, it's just broken. We go down a level, or down a floor. Also broken. It's not really, like the stairwell here isn't really a means of travel between floors. It's essentially just a means to get down to the basement from the third floor. Now, there is a kind of a weird, kind of like distorted baby sound effect that can play here sometimes. I think we might hear it maybe on the way out, since we're not hearing it on the way in. But this is one of those areas where we're going to have another cutscene with Maria. So we're just going to go ahead and push. Handprints are just a hint that this can be pushed. You can interact with this. And then as soon as you try
James. Mary? Oh, Maria. It's you. I thought you were...
Mary? Oh, it's just
Sorry.
you. Cold.
Anyway.
Cold-blooded.
I'm glad you're alive.
Glad you're alive, I guess.
Anyway! What do you mean, anyway?
Marie does not
You don't
take
sound
kindly
very
to that.
happy to see me. I was almost killed back there.
She again confirms
didn't
that
you
she
try to
can
save
see
me?
the monsters as well.
All you care about is that dead wife of yours. I've never been so scared in my whole life. You couldn't care less about me, could you?
No, I
Then
just...
stay with me. Don't ever leave me alone. You're supposed to take care of me.
This is kind of
So,
hinting.
What about Laura?
Well, we'll get
Did
to
you
it, sorry.
find her?
Yeah, but... She ran away.
We've got to find her.
So that's kind of referencing.
You really seem to care about
There's
her.
more to this cutscene.
Do you know her?
I've never met her before. I just feel sorry for her. She's all alone. And for some reason, I feel like it's up to me to protect her.
Parallel between Mary there. But one thing that's kind of interesting is she talks about, then stay with me. That's kind of referencing that actually is one of the endings. In the Maria ending, like we were talking about earlier, James, submits to his delusion and stays here in Silent Hill with Maria. Here's the weird baby thing. No monster or anything here, it's just a weird sound effect. So now Maria is back with us, which means it's back in the kind of escort mode. Again, we gotta make sure we don't shoot her, make sure that monsters don't kill her, which will be pretty easy because we're playing on easy for this particular run. We do want to, now that we have a second person, that means that we can go into the day room. And from the day room, we can go ahead and get the fridge open. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I also picked up the ring. We need 2 rings, 1 for each hand for the lady in the painting. Of course, this is also when it's going to hit us with the game show. I had mentioned it in the previous playthrough, but in HD collection, you actually can't hear the original voice actor for this. They only put in the new voice actor, regardless of which setting you choose for voice acting.
Correctly and win a great prize, or fail to answer correctly and receive the punishment. It all depends on you. And our lucky, or should I say unlucky challenger today is James.
Also, sometimes people wonder what this shit is about, this whole game show thing, and I have no idea. Like, it's just one of those kind of surreal,
Merry-go-round,
kind of just like
haunted house, roller
surreal
coaster,
things in this game.
Ferris wheel, and teacup. Silent Hill is home to a thrilling amusement park that both children and adults love. The question is, what is the name of this amusement park? 1. Fantasyland. 2.
This is one that
Amusement
the
Park.
answers for this are
3.
always the same.
Lakeside Amusement Park.
I would guess it's just because it has a voice recorded line. It would probably be too expensive to record different lines for different answers.
Witnessed
So.
a gruesome murder a few years back.
I also appreciate
Brother and
the
sister were
answers
playing in the
for
road
the
when they were attacked
questions in this
and
puzzle
shot
are
into
ones that you as the
pieces
player
with an
can
axe.
actually find.
Or smashed
Just
bones,
looking at your map or
splattered
looking at
blood,
your memos.
And finally, what a terrible tragedy. What a gruesome end to such innocent lives. What was the name of the murderer who committed this vile act? 1. Walter Sullivan. 2. Scott Fairbanks. 3. Eric Gaines. Now for our third and final question.
Game named
South
after
of the lake is a deserted
real
old
serial
neighborhood
killer,
called
Ed Gein.
South Vale. From there to
The
Pale
surrealism
Vale,
is definitely
Central Resort
intentional.
area northwest of the lake.
There's a lot of
There's
stuff like
only
that
one
that's
road
just
you
like,
can take. Just
you
one
know,
road, no more.
It really does feel like a
third and
dream,
final
right?
question is,
Like this is some
what
shit that
is
would
the
happen in
name
a
of
game.
that
You
road?
just step onto an
1,
elevator and all of a
Bachman
sudden
Road.
you're at a game show.
2, Rindell Street. 3, Nathan Avenue. Well, that's the last of our questions.
Yeah, it
Have you got
really,
all
like,
figured out?
this game is full of surprises
You know the
in your first
answers.
playthrough
Head to the
especially. It's
storeroom on
like,
the 3rd floor to collect your prizes. But be careful
the?
if you're wrong. Well then, everybody, thanks for tuning in.
part of the brilliance of
See you
Silent Hill,
again
I think.
sometime.
It always keeps you on your toes. You never know when you're going to have an elevator game show. The characters even comment on how out of place it is. Like,
What was that?
James is like, hell if I know. One little neat thing, I can't remember if I mentioned this in the last playthrough, but Walter Sullivan makes a reappearance. Like, in Silent Hill 2, he's just referenced in that game show and in the memo, the newspaper clipping that talks about him murdering the children and committing suicide by stabbing himself in the neck with a spoon. He is actually the main antagonist of Silent Hill 4. Silent Hill 4 kind of has, it's like Silent Hill 2, it is, the story itself is not connected to any of the other games, like how 3 is a sequel to 1, or, you know, any of that. It is another standalone Silent Hill story, but it has some references to the previous Silent Hill games up to that point. And Walter Sullivan being named, at least named after, if not the same person that is referred to here in Silent Hill 2, is one of those kind of nods to this earlier title.
You can't open it?
James with the wimpy
Yeah,
baby arms.
Maria, give me a hand here.
Come on. You're supposed to be the big man around here. How's a little girl like me supposed to help?
He just needs to believe in himself because, again, it's just James opening this if you think about it.
Not very cute, is it? Here, James. You take it.
Thanks.
So now we got the lead ring. So now we've got both of the rings. You can see these are more that we can combine. One of them has a spider on it. The other one has a disgusting bloated face. Like ugly and bloated corpses. The lady of the door. Etc., etc. Let's go visit the lady of the door. But before we do that, we need to go back to the 3rd floor storeroom. And we need to go ahead and solve that puzzle. That puzzle is like, the rewards for it, for like getting the answers right, are so nice, because it gives you a ton of ammo and stuff. You just don't want to get it wrong, because if you get it wrong, then the box sprays out like this poison mist that actually does a pretty decent little chunk of damage. If I remember right, the poison that sprays out can kill you, so you have to be careful to not do this when you're low on health if you're unsure of the answers, but because this one's always the same, it's always 313. And then you can tell there is a ton of stuff in this box, like you can see it. So shotgun shells, I think there's like 5 of those, 2 ampoules. And then if we hadn't been here before to pick up, you know, there were also a couple of bullet boxes and a health kit. It's like a super useful room. So now we've got the 2 rings, and we're going to go back and look at the lady. Which again, you know, you can actually see they rendered the hands on the door. They actually are 3D and do stick out, as James mentions when we walk up to it. Painting of a woman on the door. Oddly enough, the hand part of the painting is actually 3D and sticks out. We're going to go ahead and combine, just to show you guys what it looks like when you combine and use items. You put the copper ring on, and you can actually see, like, nice detail is you actually see it appear on the, like, you can see on her left hand, on her index finger, she's now got the copper ring. And then she's got the skull ring on her, or the lead ring, well, the bloated face is now on her index of her right hand. That means the door's open. Now, this, of course, is going to be... Let's see, there's a note here. I took the director's key, the one to the museum. I hid it behind the praying woman when I went out for the day trip. I picked it up, but I did not steal it. I'm not a criminal. Again, with these, like, really simple typos, it implies it might be the same, you know, the same nameless, like, patient who kind of left some other clues or stuff for some of the other puzzles. But, of course, we don't know that for sure. All of these are locked, so we're just going to go all the way down to the bottom. This, on easy, this shouldn't be too bad. This is, of course, the boss fight where we're just going to run from Pyramid Head. It actually super helps to memorize the turns ahead of time, especially on the harder difficulty, so we're going to go ahead and start trying to do that. I think it's right, left. Oh, fuck, I'm screwing it up. Left, and then we go around the U-turn. She already got hit a couple times because I heard it. Ooh, he's close. Oh, I missed that one bad. You really got to be careful to not make any wrong turns. On the hard, making like one wrong turn is probably going to get one-shotted, and then you have to redo it.
Open up!
Now this is where Pyramid Head starts to show James, it's like, no, you need to break through the memory block and realize what really happened. Mary was killed, is what Pyramid Head is trying to tell James. And we see Maria die multiple times throughout the game. This is one of the 2 times where Pyramid Head kills her. Nice little minimal piano piece here. Also some really good. I feel like this is a good scene that kind of conveys emotion without dialogue. You can really tell he's just kind of, that hit him pretty hard. That's really good direction, how the door opens, even though he's kind of lined up against it, you just see him kind of curled up. There's a lot of cues that they took from really well-directed movies. Oh, I actually forgot to mention, the Heaven's Night, the little strip club, is actually kind of a reference to the one that's in Blue Velvet, which is a 1986 David Lynch film. One of the things that, if you guys remember, the scene where you go into the closet where he shoots Pyramid Head in the apartments, that is also inspired by Blue Velvet. There's a couple of nods to that movie. One of the ones that has influence on this game. Right, I'm pretty sure all of these are locked. I'm not going to actually waste my time on this one, trying to go through all those. We just want to go into the director's room. We want to pick this key up. Hospital key, we want to read this note. He who is not bold enough to be stared at from across the abyss is not bold enough to stare into it himself. A little bit of Nietzsche for you. The truth can only be learned by marching forward. Follow the map. There's a letter in a wrench. And like a lot of stuff, when you look at certain clues, James will scribble on his map. Little handy reminders. In this case, he puts a note, we need the letter in the wrench, we need to go to the park, we need to go to the Silent Hill Historical Society. And that is the order we need to do those things in. So now we got the hospital lobby key. We see Laura outside, and we gotta go after her, so. Good old noble good guy James. Can't have a child going along by herself. Oh man, this is one of those things. I wonder if I can change. I wonder if it will let me change this from the options. Because it's one of those things that you can't really see unless you actually are looking at widescreen because it's so far to the left. But one of the paintings here in the director's office is super creepy. I'm going to see if it'll let us change the resolution of something. I guess we'll do... Let's see, we're on 16 by 9. I'm trying to think of what's supported on this monitor. Guess we could try 1280 by 960. This monitor is not... Oh yeah, that's definitely not going to work. This monitor is not exactly made for that kind of stuff, so we'll just set it back to the resolution we had it at. Oh no! The stream has goofed. Let's see. Give me 1 second here. We may need to... I might actually have to save it and then reload it because the resolution is no longer captured. Oops. Fortunately, there is a save point, I want to say right here. So we'll go ahead and hit that real quick. Although with this segment being complete, usually what I do is in between major areas is when I like to kind of take breaks. So I am going to take me a little 5-minute breather. That'll give me a chance to kind of stretch my legs for a minute. When I come back, I'll go ahead and get the game started back up. And I guess I'll just leave you guys with this nice little piano tune. For just a moment, we're just gonna go ahead and relaunch the game. Make sure that we can get in the correct resolution this time. Oh no! I think I may have goofed it. Let's go into the options and see. So going back into the advanced options, we're gonna try to get the resolution right. I thought I had set it correctly to what it was, and apparently I did not. That also seems wrong. Oh no. Let's try with the... Maybe we had it to just 1080, I think. That was it. Okay, I'm dumb. I tried to set it to 720p, but 1080p is actually where we want it. So, we'll go ahead and continue. Also got me a refreshment, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that real quick. Get on my little Jaws bottle opener. Fun fact, I worked at GameStop like 1 billion years ago and got this. This was a promotional keychain for the Jaws game on PS2. It's the best bottle opener I've ever had. Keep it real, the glass bottle Mexican Coke because it's delicious. So, resuming where we were. So, James just saw Maria get killed for the first time. We have now exited the hospital. We're on our way to get the key and the wrench. James taking a moment to pause and reflect. Maria's dead. He couldn't protect her. Laura's run off. Couldn't do anything on that either. Wondering, Mary, what should I do? Are you really waiting somewhere for me? He's starting to kind of, or is this way your way of taking? He starts to kind of, like the cobwebs are starting to kind of clear up. But he hasn't quite broken through the delusion just yet. See, now we're in the other world, the dark world, whatever you want to call it for Silent Hill. This is where stuff gets spooky. It's nighttime. There's a few more monsters on the street. Some things are a little different. Oh, some bullets right there. Almost walked right past them. We can hear some creepies walking around. Being weird, doing creepy stuff. Alright, so we're just looking around at some things here. Just looking for some points of interest. You can see some more taped off stuff. Going back down this way. This is the rear entrance to the Heaven's Night. We can't get back in there. You'll notice some of the things that are open are different in the dark world, or in the other world. Some doors that were open are not anymore, and vice versa. So, wandering the streets. Creepy stuff walking around. Let's take care of it. Ooh. For the star rankings at the end, how it ranks you for shooting and for fighting, remember, if you shoot something until it falls down, that's the hospital where we just left. If you shoot something until it falls down and then stomp it, that counts as killing it by fighting, because stomping is considered a, like, melee attack. So if you're trying to go for a good ranking at the end of the game, remember you have to have 75 shooting and 75 fighting deaths or kills in order to qualify for a 10-star rank. So you want to make sure to actually, like if you're going for that, you want to make sure to actually finish off quite a large number of the enemies by actually shooting them until they're dead. You can shoot them when they're on the ground, so it's fine, but it takes a lot more bullets than just doing a stomp. Another place where, again, we've got some barricaded off stuff. Just almost missed a couple things. Ooh, that's an Ampoule. We definitely don't want to miss those. As handy as they are. So, going back. Hear more stuff kind of wandering around. Shambling along. Just some graffiti. Now there are a couple of things worth noting once we're in the Dark World. So we just came down, this is the hospital. Oddly enough, it's one of the only landmarks that's not really marked. It doesn't say that it's Brookhaven Hospital. You can just see those buildings here. It doesn't say what they are. So we go down Carroll Street, because we can't go back the way we came. We gotta go down Rindle Street. We already know Munson is a dead end. There are a couple of places we can explore. I don't think this one has anything in it. I know if we go to the burger shop or whatever. Hello, Impy. How you doing? Hello. We just made it out of the hospital, so now we're just walking around the other world in the town and noticing how much creepier things are now. You'll notice there's a lot more of those fences and that like plastic sheet covering stuff. That looks like it says something, but I can't quite make out what it is. It's got some graffiti on it. It might just be a no parking sign. There's quite a number of those in the game. Still hearing spooky stuff. Creepy crawlies, things that go bump in the night. Keep out. Again, more stuff over here that's, you know, got the weird fences and scaffolds, whatever they are. Everything's a little bit rustier, a little bit dirtier, a little bit bloodier. Just generally, like, the vibes are even worse. The vibes are bad, and now the vibes were bad, and now they're, like, super bad. Let's take a look where we are. So we're on Saul Street. If you guys remember, this was a big fence before when we came and looked at it. This little area was not open. So we go through here. This is where we see some of the hanging guys. They're kind of easy to avoid, but you don't want to do that. What I just did. If you step on top of them, they have these little like tentacle stab things that come out of their hands, and they'll stab your feet. And it actually does inflict a slight amount of damage. Now, if these guys look familiar, if you've ever played Silent Hill 3, you actually see this same type of enemy again in the mall. Only in that game, they're actually standing up and, you know, they walk around and stuff. They'll hit you. So now we see, remember earlier when we got this marked on our map, this little motorhome, this little RV type deal? I guess it'd just be a motorhome, we can't drive it. But if we go in here, like we were saying before, it's got the hint to go to Bar Neely's Bar. It's got a save point, and if we had ranked well enough in our star ranking at the end of our last playthrough, there'd be a hyper spray here of varying quality depending on how good our rank was. The worst one, I think, is, or the weakest hyper spray that you can get, it just like temporarily stuns enemies. It's like a little aerosol, like a spray paint can or something. You spray it and they just go, ooh. Whereas if you actually complete a 10-star ranking, you get the best hyper spray, which can kill anything in the game in one hit. And it's the only weapon that can really stop Pyramid Head. It won't kill him, but in areas where he's walking around, like in the labyrinth, you can spray him and it will temporarily stun him. It's the only weapon in the game that you can really fend him off that way with, so it's like extra special. There was a hyper spray here. It's gone now. Exactly. Speaking of Neely's Bar, we're about to hit Neely's Bar here in a moment. We're going to see that one of the famous lines from this game. Some ads for some shoes, some stuff in the window. This is the burger spot, the totally not Burger King, aka Happy Burger. Now when we're going through, if you guys remember, we checked this in the fog world and there was not anything here, but when we go back through and look now, there's some bullets and stuff. It's always a good idea to explore, and even, like, especially once everything transitions from Fog World to Otherworld, it can even be a good idea to explore places you've already been, because there may be items there now that weren't there before. Let's see, I wonder... One of these places, well, there we go. Huh, the post office. Can't really do anything or go in there. Yeah, not a lot on this side. We do have the Bar Neely's, I believe it's going to be right here. Yeah, you can see the newspaper over and the camera shifts to kind of give you a hint like, hey, you can inspect the store. Now you notice the newspaper or the map that was here before that had some things drawn on it is gone. And that message that we saw before, there was a hole here, is gone now. That's still here, but now the second time, if you visit this in the Dark World, there's a new message, which is this one. Oh, let me walk over to it where I can see it better. There it is. If you really want to see Mary, you should just die. But you might not, or you might be heading to a different place than Mary, James. Just entering this room and looking at that is one of the triggers that will affect, it weights you towards getting the in-water ending where James commits suicide at the end. It's like there's so many little hints where it's like, James, wake up, you know? Like you gotta atone for your sins and realize what you have done. Alright, we probably should turn around at this point. Just to make sure, because we gotta go back to get the wrench. But I guess we'll explore for a bit. We'll see if there's always more bullets and stuff lying around. Who knows, maybe we'll see an interesting sign or two. Maybe we'll see something that says blessing or whatever that says. I'm really curious if the hints that we saw for there's a couple of signs that are really sneaky in where they're put in the game. Like there's a couple of signs on some buildings. One says Phoenix Body. Oh yeah, the door that wakes in darkness opening into nightmares. We do have to come back here in a moment. We can no longer go into the apartments. If we try to go, I don't even think it gives you a broken door. It just won't interact, if I remember right. But, yeah, I was wondering if we'd run into, if the Phoenix Body and the disappearing envelopes signs are still where they were. I guess we'll find out if we see them while we're walking around. I can't remember exactly where they're at. A little bar here. One of them is like up here, maybe? You know what? Actually, I think we may have already passed one. I think the one about the envelopes is around the post office, come to think of it. But some more stuff over here. Again, like one thing I've mentioned before is I really appreciate that really nothing in the town is copy-pasted. All the businesses, all the storefronts are unique. You don't really see stuff that's repeated, and I feel that that really gives an additional layer of immersion. They even got a music store. I love groovy music. I want to hear the groovy tunes. Big J's. Again, there is just stuff everywhere. Hello, Lord Narcom. Narcom. Hope you're having a good one. We're just exploring the streets of Silent Hill. We just got out of the hospital, so now we're just kind of wandering around, just examining the town, looking for things that are different or changed now that we're in the dark world or the other world. Accurate fabrication and welding. By golly. Right. Yeah, no signs up here. I think if we go a little further down, I don't think there's necessarily anything. Whoa, my god! I actually forgot that sometimes you will see leg enemies clamped on the side of buildings like that. Oh, you were watching Stone play an attorney earlier? How was it? Was it a Glizzy's? I know Wagner was saying they got 7th in Glizzy's. It's pretty cool. Also messed with some palette mods. Palette modding for Plus R is pretty neat. I've considered getting into it, but I'll be honest, like, I really like the palette that I use for ABBA in Plus R. Just default H. It's like, you know, I could make a custom color, but I really like the one that I have. So, it works out. I've seen some really cool stuff that people have done, though, where they mod the like, sidebars or pelt bars or, you know. It's cool to see sometimes people mess around with stuff that's not even necessarily like character palettes. Sometimes people will mod the UI, and that's pretty cool. So we're going to try to go back here. And, you guys remember when we fought that first enemy, and I was talking about in the last stream how it's kind of implied that the things that you see in the fog world, the monsters in the fog world or the other world, are just normal people in the real, like, normal world. And when you kill that first monster, it's kind of implying here with the police tape that it's a murder scene. You know, it's basically like, oh, to James you killed a monster, but in the real world, maybe you killed a person. So that's one of the things that is definitely changed when you come back and visit this area for the first time since doing all that stuff. A few soul colors you didn't like, now you like all of them. I mean, that's the way to go, really. That's one thing that's pretty godlike for the PAL mods for Plus R. Is you can really, if there's any palettes that you don't like, you can just make them into ones that you like. So that way, even if other people pick them, you know, it's like, well, I don't like that color, but I can make it so they do pick one that I like. Let's see, what does that one say? Exchange. God, that's giving me Phoenix Body. Okay, the Phoenix Body one is still here. So the Disappearing Envelopes one is still probably around as well. Man, they're just dudes, just hanging out. The streets come alive at night here in Silent Hill. Everybody's out and about after dark. It's when the city is popping. So again, some of the stuff that was blocked off before, still blocked off. Still got this little flower shop. I don't think there's necessarily anything new here. But we'll see. Oh, I stand corrected. There's actually a lot of things here. There's like 3 handgun bullet boxes. At this point, we've got to have... Oh, 2 bullets and a shotgun shells. Nice. Alright, so at this point, we've got to have like a ton of ammunition. I know we've been kind of hoarding it because it's easy. 600 bullets. 167 shotgun shells. We even got a couple of rifle shells already. Owl brand rifles. How far in are we? We just beat the hospital. So now we're just exploring the town, like looking at the things that have changed now that this is the first time we've been able to explore the town in the other world. You can see some loading docks or something. More of the fences, more of the rusty, weird crap, and some plastic sheets or something going on. I really hope I can find the Disappearing Envelopes sign. Like, how far? Like 40%? So the Silent Hill 2 is essentially like the town is kind of like a central hub that kind of connects 4 major locations. So you've got the first main area is the Woodland Apartments. The second major area is the hospital, which is the one we just left. The third major area is the Historical Society, aka the Civil War Prison. The fourth major area is the hotel, and that is, that is where all is revealed and whatnot. So we're probably, oh shoot, I'm about to go the wrong way again. Let's see, we need to go forward and then to the right, and then we need to swing a left. That's right. So, yeah, we're probably like halfway. Like, that sounds about right. Oh my gosh. Oh! Is this what I think it is? Magical envelopes. That's what it says. Magical envelopes. Okay. That will be important. That's why I wanted to show you guys. That's one of the ones that's like, really, you know. Oh, hello Argentine. Love the static sound when you're near the bad guys. Yeah, that is one of the things that's really cool. Definitely a hallmark of the series is the radio. Alright, the fixed camera angle again saying, stop, there's stuff to look at. Got the wrench. Got the... Or perhaps you are a fool. The truth usually betrays people. A part of that abyss is in the old society. The key to the society is in the park, at the foot of the praying woman, inside of the ground, inside of a box. To open it, I need a wrench. My patient buried it there. I knew, but did nothing. It made me uneasy to have such a thing near. I wasn't looking for the truth, I was looking for tranquility. I also saw that thing. I fled, but the museum was sealed as well. Now, no one dares to approach that place. If you still do not wish to stop, James, I pray to the Lord to have mercy on your eternal soul. It's pretty heavily implied that that is the director of the museum. Now, if I remember right, so one of the special endings that you can get is one of these houses has a doghouse in front of it. I can't remember exactly where it's at. It's one of those where, like, I always forget exactly which house, like, where in the town it's located. So I usually forget to pick it up. But there's an item that you can pick up in the doghouse called a... it's basically like a bone-shaped key, like a dog bone-shaped key. And it is the one exception. So every time that you see a door in this game that is broken, like broken as in you can literally never open this kind of deal, every time you see one of those in this game, you can never open those. The one exception is there is a room in the hotel in the same floor. It's on the 3rd floor. Instead of going into the room to watch the tape, if you go up to one of the doors that is normally, if you examine it, it says it's a broken door, so you would normally think nothing of it. But if you have the bone key, the dog bone key in your inventory, oh look, it's James, another corpse that is also using James's model. But if you go to this normally broken door while you have the dog bone key, you'll use the dog bone key to open it, and then you get one of the 2 joke endings in the game, which is the dog ending, which is godlike. I'll just let you guys see that ending for yourselves whenever we do a playthrough for it, because that ending is so good. Oh yeah, we missed these on this playthrough earlier. It's just this guy leaving some kind of like tutorial hints. He just mentions his friend said that he didn't see anything. Does that mean what I saw was an illusion? That's kind of letting you know some people can see the monsters, some people can't. Whether that demon that ate human beings was real, or whether it was just some sort of hallucination that my mind dreamed up. Kind of hinting at what's going on story-wise. This is where it's kind of giving you a hint gameplay-wise. It says they're attracted to the light. If you turn off your flashlight, it does make it a little bit easier to sneak past monsters. Same thing with sound. If you turn off your radio and your flashlight, it is actually a lot easier to sneak past enemies. And then it mentions the important thing is to relax. It's dangerous to fire a gun while you're all crazy with fear. That's letting you know your shots from any of the guns in this game are more accurate if you stop. If you shoot while you're moving, which the game will let you do, but if you do that, your shots are less accurate. Take good aim and squeeze the trigger. Don't forget to finish them off. Give them a good stomp. Most of these creatures can be killed. That is correct. And then some spooky stuff here at the end. Run away, run away. So remember that door that wakes into darkness, opening into nightmares? We're going to go back to that one. Since now it should be... previously when we went up to that door it said it was locked or something, and now it's going to let us go through. Because in the other world it is not locked. Actually, you know what? I think this is locked, but I think that this is what the director's key is for, if I remember right. But in any case, this is where we need to go. The door that wakes in darkness, opening into nightmares. Oh no, it isn't locked. So now we're gonna start going down the street here. Let's go ahead and check and see where we are. I wonder if we go down this way, if any of this has changed. Who knows? Maybe we'll find that blasted doghouse that I always seem to miss. Ah! Almost ran into that one. I could tell it was closed. Alright, so let's take a left here, go down Cat Street. It's almost like you can tell this is like the nicer part of town. It's got the fancy little townhomes. Looking a little bougie. Come on, doghouse. Nope, we're already at the dead end. Oh, but there's some stuff back here. Hey, I never noticed this. first aid kit. And an Ampoule. Let's go. Alright. Not anything else though. So, let's go back down this way. Again, we're looking for a doghouse that's in front of the yard. I guess it's not like super important because that's not the ending that we're going for. I guess I'm just trying to, if I see it, maybe that'll help me remember for when I do the dog playthrough where I actually need to look. I mean, I could just look it up on like a guide or something, but why not explore a little bit? We're just taking it easy. It's a nice, comfy Silent Hill 2 stream. I do hope that you guys, I've said this before, but I hope you guys are having a good time. Just chilling, soaking in the vibes, the atmosphere for this game. It's like, it's both unnerving, but also a little chill at the same time. Oh, there's a whole little area back here. Oh yeah, this is like a little motel. This is definitely one of those places, you can explore like this whole little spot. And it's like, wow, like they didn't even really have to do this. They could have saved a lot of time and just like not even made this an area you can go in. But instead, Team Silent's godlike, so of course they're gonna have some more stuff. No entrance for carrying in. Don't put the thing. Yeah, I can't really read the rest that well. It's cozy till weird shit starts happening, that's right. See, what do we got here? The dance company. Classic ballet, jazz, aerobics. Well, let's dance with us. Whoop. Me getting hit because I'm being careless. Air International. The Silent Hill Airport, I guess, or travel agency or something. We do see a few different signs. Some of them are for businesses, dry cleaners. Some of them show some locations, some kind of important locations in the game, like the one that is for the Historical Society, or there's one for the lake. Texon Auto Service, Muffler and Brakes. Man, they have a monopoly. They own the gas stations. They own the auto repair shops. It's messed up. So, got some more bullets, health drink, some more things, just more rewards for just kind of exploring a bit. Maximum grip. Got an ad for maximum grip tires. Another dead end down this way. Oh, we must be back near the bowling alley. We see more graffiti of the bowling kids. I think that's actually going to be the bowling alley to our left. Of course, we can't go back inside, but explore a little bit, see if there's anything down here, any items we can pick up. I feel like if I were doing like a speed run, this would definitely be one of those points where Pete's Bowl-O-Rama, welcome, food and drink. This would definitely be one of those points where I'd say like, yeah, let's read off some donations. Yep, there's nothing more to do here. Guess I'll go back to looking for Mary. Guess I'll get back on the Mary grind. Alright, so some dudes, baddies walking around. Let's see where we're at in the town. Yeah, so now we're up by the Pete's Bowl-O-Rama. We actually need to make a U-turn and go back to the park. Now that we have the wrench. We're going to be using that wrench to open the thing in the box at the foot of the praying woman, etc., as the director mentioned in his hints. I'm just thinking of that voice clip from Laura later in the game where she's like, I'm tired of walking. Oh, here's one. This shows you the Lakeview Hotel. The hotel, very obviously inspired by The Shining. Neighborhood cafe. Espresso. Yeah, there's actually some pretty neat references to The Shining Rosewater Park, which is where we want to be. There's some neat references to The Shining in the hotel itself. There's also a poster somewhere, and I can't remember where it is, but there is a poster that is a poster of, like, that's like a direct reference to The Shining. But we already passed it, because it's like earlier in the game. I can't remember where exactly it's at. But now that we're back in the park, if we want to explore the park, there are a couple of new items that are laying around, like an Ampoule. It's a really good one to pick up because it's easy to come across. We just want to find that praying woman, which, if I remember, I think she's this way. Yeah. So we got the praying woman. The victim of persecution by the Christians, Jennifer Carroll. Go back here and we can see the freshly dug spot. Graves is round up only here. Could there be something under here? We dig for a bit. See what we find. And sure enough, as the director hinted, there is a box here. That is a really crisp image. Like, that looks really good. Kudos to the Enhanced Edition team. Now we gotta use that wrench to open it. It takes off the bolt, and then we get the super old looking bronze key. That, of course, is going to be our entrance to the Silent Hills Historical Society. So now we can go ahead and head back out of here if we want. I want to say if you explore the park a little bit more, there are like a couple of other items you can pick up, but we're just going to save time because there's not really any other changes in the park. So now we get to go on the long walk. We just got to go straight up. I want to say it's Nathan Avenue is what we're on. Yeah. We just want to stay on Nathan Avenue until we get to the third hint that the director gave us, which is the Silent Hill Historical Society. And this will be a little bit of a walk. You know what, while we're doing this, let's go ahead and take a look at that letter from Mary and see if anything has changed. In my restless dreams, I see that town, Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Well, I'm alone there now in our special place, waiting for you. So up to this point, it's still the same. James hasn't quite got it yet. Hasn't really clicked for him. He's starting to kind of notice things are amiss. Like when he started to leave the hospital and he started to say, is this your way of taking... I guess one way that you could consider that sentence to be finished is this your way of taking me, murdering you harshly? Or like, you know, it's like, you're not too bent out of shape over the fact that I like killed you in cold blood, right? A sign here for the Silent Hill Historical Society, the early days of Toluca. It's kind of implied that Toluca might be maybe like an older name for the town before it was Silent Hill. The stories of the truth, Nathan Avenue. We do know the lake itself is called Toluca Lake. And then there's Lakeside Amusement Park with these cute little cartoon horsies. Looks like it's right out of Cuphead, doesn't it? I'm saying that's 3 miles away. If we could walk that far, we would just walk all the way to it. Keep the nature, folks. Keep the nature. Reminds me of those signs in the background, your ad. It reminds me of the signs in the background of Streets of Rage 2, where it's like boo, do baseball. And then in Silent Hill 2, you got keep the nature. Quiet cocktails. I think that's that bar. Yeah, because it's got the martini glass little logo. It's kind of neat that like you'll see ads for businesses, and then if you walk around, it's like, oh, there it is. That's the thing I saw advertised. Got the boat dock. Whoa, the boat launched, rather. That lady is upset. Oh my god. You know what? Let's see what happens if we walk a little bit further. One thing you guys may have wondered is like, how far can you go, right? Giga computers. Baby and Kids Superstore. Discount prices, baby gift registry, parking and rear. If I remember right, if you walk around, sometimes you'll see legs. Silent Hill fresh meats. We saw that earlier in the game, if you remember. If I remember right, just walking by, another one for the Lakeview Hotel, you can actually examine this one. As you walk by, sometimes you'll see legs or other enemies just kind of like get flung over the railing and just like into the street. We might see some on the way back. Yeah, you can see this is another spot where the road just kind of ends. There's also, I think, maybe a couple of items back here. Maybe not. Maybe he's just looking at... Oh yeah, there are some items here. There's also another corpse just chilling here. It's another dead James. Do baseball. Oh yeah, that song is a banger. Silent Hill 2 is... Or not Silent Hill 2. Streets of Rage 2 is just non-stop bangers. Oh, it's another map. How about that? Whoa. That's pretty surreal, honestly. Oh, you know what? I think that the hint for this is like if when you first leave the park, if you just stay on this road, this is giving you a hint that like, hey, you actually want to check out the bowling place. And it also has Heaven's Night is kind of underlined. And it's got some other stuff that's kind of marked off. But that's another corpse that is James, but with one of the monster heads. You can tell. Black dress shoes, blue jeans, green coat. Awfully familiar, huh? We'll see if it'll fling in some legs or something as we're walking down here. Huh, there's an ad for the strip club. Let's see, we've uncovered the... I can't quite make out the rest of the text. I'm really curious what that says. Whoa. Okay. No legs? I guess no legs this time. I want to say it's random if they fly out or not. Let's see. Vaccine clinic. Oh man. T's Italian restaurant. This was foreshadowing. They predicted COVID. God. Alright, let's go down a little further. And we also got a sign for the inn. Jack's Inn. Beauty rest. Radio, TV. Air conditioning. Hi-fi. I don't think that you really see a lot of signs for them anymore, but I know like when I was younger, a lot of the signs that you would see for different like hotels or motels or stuff, places that you could stay, a lot of the ones, at least here in the South where I live, there's one for the Texon gas. But a lot of those billboards in the South where I live, like when I was growing up, a lot of times they would advertise like some of the amenities, and they would almost always include HBO because that was like a fancy enough amenity at the time. Silent Hill Tavern, one for another one of the bars. Yeah, I think that's what hi-fi is referring to there, is they couldn't just put HBO, but they can put that they have hi-fi. Let's see, this is back at the bowling alley, so now we can probably turn around. Yeah, we'll just go back to the boat launch / historical society. We'll go ahead and enter, and then we'll start looking at things in there. Since we are officially going for the Rebirth Ending, we do have to be careful. There's one of the items that is needed for the Rebirth Ending is actually in the Historical Society building. So we want to make sure to not miss that. If I remember right, it's the Obsidian Goblet. Yo, Fiestamint with the raid! Shoutouts to Fiestamint. That is much appreciated, my man. We are, to everyone just joining, also, thank you, Black Snake, for the follow. That is godlike, and I appreciate it. It's pretty cool seeing you guys in here. We're actually just doing like a really spoiler-heavy playthrough for Silent Hill 2. This is my favorite game of all time, absolutely. So I'm just like doing a kind of a relaxed playthrough where I'm just pointing out stuff, just like explaining how some of the mechanics work. Pointing out little Easter eggs and little nods and little, you know, like some of the symbolism in the story and character stuff and just all sorts of crap. This is basically this whole series for streams is just like a love letter for me to this game because it's awesome. But I hope you guys are having a good night. Let me say again, welcome to anybody who joined from the raid. Thank you again to Fiestimate for that. That's very cool of you. We can see some of the paintings here in the Historical Society are pretty interesting, kind of detailed, right? Like that one's like, man, that's like the whole inside of a building or something. We got a save point here at the start. I don't think there's anything else we can really interact with in this room. But this next room, nothing in particular. You know what? I think it's in the next room. That's where the obsidian goblet's at. Photos hanging here, the Wilt's coal mine. This is just some stuff that kind of gives you, kind of like adds to the town. This one is the Easter egg of the Team Silent Development team. They were able to sneak a picture of themselves in here. So this is the developers of this game. Pretty cool little nod to them. Probably used to be a painting here, only my explanation remains. Waterfront landscape. Alan Smith, date of birth and death unknown. A scene of this area from long ago. From the style, it looks like it was done sometime around 1820. There were a lot fewer people then and only a handful of buildings. And my favorite painting in this entire game, as I mentioned in the previous stream, there was a long period in my life where I considered getting this as a back tattoo, like a full back tattoo. Because holy shit, what a cool painting. That's so sick. Misty Day, Remains of the Judgment. It's him. Now, for those of you who do know, and again, for anybody who just joined, if you don't want spoilers, this is a super spoiler-heavy stream for Silent Hill 2. I'm explaining a lot of stuff. If you don't want certain things for this game spoiled, if you've never played it before, I strongly suggest that you leave. You can either watch my spoiler-free playthrough, which is in my Twitch VOD and will soon be in my YouTube VOD archive, or you can just play it yourself. And honestly, I think you should if you've never played this game. It's got one of the best stories ever written in games, in my opinion. But how many endings are there? I believe there's 6. So there's 4 main endings. There's Leave, In Water, Rebirth, and Maria. Or I guess it'd be Maria and then Rebirth. Then there's 2 joke endings, which is the dog ending and the UFO ending. Those are like extras. But yeah, so last chance before we start to like major spoil stuff. By the time I finish taking a sip of this this refreshing beverage right here, we're gonna get into it. So you may be wondering, if Pyramid Head is a figment of James's imagination, why is he like in things? And it's because when James visited Silent Hill with his wife Mary, back when they visited here some years ago as like a tourist spot, they did visit the Historical Society, and they learned about the history of the executioners that used to be present in the town. The executioners wore these large red pyramid-esque type hoods, or metal helmets, whatever you want to call them. And they were responsible for executing people, like the prisoners in the Civil War prison, which is where we're going to go next. The option, which I guess you can tell if you want to see how those guys look familiar. These guys look like the boss that we fought in the hospital, right? The kind of hanging dudes in the room where Laura left us trapped. But basically, with Pyramid Head being a figment of James's imagination, he was kind of constructed based on James's subconscious need to punish himself for his sins. And so the thing that his brain, in constructing that image, the thing that it felt would best represent that need for punishment, that need for punishment for his sins, would be the executioner, because that's what they were back in the past of Silent Hill. Like, he associates them with punishment, so that's what his delusion uses to represent that. Going into this next room, there's a couple of other things that we can look at on the walls. We also start to hear creepy sound effects by the steps. The steps are widely believed to be inspired by an extremely good book, my favorite book, which is a book by an author named Mark Z. Danielewski, and it's a book called House of Leaves. If you've never read House of Leaves, if you're looking for a one-of-a-kind type of story, go buy it. One thing that's worth noting about House of Leaves as well, you cannot pirate that book. It is not the same. You have to have a physical copy. So go to your local like Second and Charles, your local bookstore. See if you can get a copy of it. Paperback copies are pretty cheap. Give it a read. It is quite an experience. The story of that book is about a house that is impossible. Literally, the inside of the house is larger than the outside. And like as days go by, this man who recently moved into the house with his family, he finds things like rooms will appear that weren't there the day before, or rooms will be larger. Like he'll measure the width of a room one day and then come back the next day and it will be slightly larger. And there's certain physically impossible things. And at one point, there's a stairway that goes down like an unnervingly long amount of time. And that's about to be what we're going to hit. Nothing particularly special about this photograph. I think I actually erroneously said in my first stream for this that this is the team of the dev of Team, that this is the picture of Team Silent. It's actually not. It's the one that we saw in the other room. It just got it backwards. This one, a photo of the hospital, shows us that the hospital is actually really old, from 1880. So a lot of those horrors are being created by James himself. Yes, absolutely. Pyramid Head is nothing more than a figment of James's imagination. The same as Maria. Even the look and appearance of the monsters, just the regular monsters. You know, you got the one that looks like it's in a straitjacket. That's kind of like Brains is James tipping off to himself that he's a little crazy, right? Maybe he needs to be in a mental institution. The one that is the pair of legs, one of the things that we've already talked about, one of the themes, is how James is actually kind of low-key like a sexual deviant and kind of a shitty person. And the legs kind of represent James's idea of a perfect woman. It's just two bottom halves, right? So about the hospital. The hospital was built in response to a great plague that followed a wave of immigration to this area. It was originally a little more than a shack, but it gradually grew and grew. You can see a little picture of it there. You can also see, apparently, the director of the museum, the guy that was like helping us out. And apparently the director is Little Richie, so thanks. Now this is one that's interesting. This is a photo of a deep, deep hole. What could this be? This is actually foreshadowing. You will be in this exact room, seeing that exact camera angle that it shows you in the photo here very shortly. It's just one of those things that the game is just kind of does to mess with you, I think. Now here's the item that we need to pick up. This is one of the ones that's required for the Rebirth Ending. It is the Obsidian Goblet. It's only there since we have a clear save on file. And if we look at the Obsidian Goblet, it is an ancient-looking goblet carved from pure obsidian, founded in the museum. We can even examine this one. A snake is carved into its stem. Interesting. Well, I probably should heal. I just realized I'm a little hurt from where I was walking around and got beat up. Let's take a look at this letter one more time. Yeah, it still hasn't changed. Still the full text for the letter. So now we will begin our descent. If you notice, one of the things that is a recurring, well, just something that you'll see a lot of in this entire area, both the like historical society / Civil War prison, is a lot of going deeper. So we go down this unnervingly long staircase. This is one of the things that was kind of, said to be influenced by House of Leaves. And if you notice, the further down you get, the more frequent the creepy, whatever that is in the background, it gets more and more frequent. It's just kind of, there's this kind of sense of dread. The game does a lot of stuff like that where it really plays some pretty interesting... Thank you, Get Silius, for the follow. That's very cool of you. Hello, how you doing? We're just doing a super spoiler-heavy walkthrough for Silent Hill 2 where I'm just talking about a bunch of stuff. Oops, I actually see a bot I gotta ban. That's whack. Don't be like this, guys. Let's see. Godness Live? There we go. I'm doing really good. I hope you're doing well. Silent Hill 2, my favorite game of all time, so I'm just doing a little love letter playthrough where I'm just talking about stuff. Oh no, hello cute snake ass. No fame, no buying followers. We do things honestly. Just like in Plus R, we don't tolerate cheating. Hello Sid, how you doing? This is absolutely my favorite area in this game. The atmosphere here is so sick. It's just like the music right here is like, it just like the sense of impending doom. Like it's so ominous, right? Like just the vibes are bad. Cheating in Plus R is hilarious to me. Like that's so funny. Of all the games to cheat at, why? Why would you cheat at Plus R? That's so... I just laugh just thinking about that. Yeah, there's actually at least 2 known cheaters that were proven. People analyzed some of the inputs from their replays and found out that they were using macros. P-Mage, the Venom player, and Alf, yeah, Testament. People, and at first I was like, well, I gotta see some video evidence. And people posted some, and it's pretty convincing. And it's like, I don't know. I mean, I guess, if you want to cheat in Plus R, as long as you're not, like, cheating in tournaments. If somebody were to cheat against me, like, even if they beat me, I would just laugh. There's a really funny clip from Kesuke recently where he fought against P-Mage and beat the brakes off that man. Whooped him. And then he actually said, in the stream, he said, against me, cheats do not work. And that is the hardest shit I have ever heard. That was ice cold. A lot of Tekken players use macros. Yeah, I mean, it's like, I guess it's expected, right? Because, like, execution is a big part of, yeah, super power move from Kesuke. That's like GOAT status right there. But, yeah, a lot of people in fighting games use macros, I guess, because, you know, or at least, I won't say a lot, but some people use macros because, you know, execution is one of the difficult parts of fighting games, and if you just press a button and it does an entire combo for you or something, it's like, okay. I feel like that that robs yourself of some of the experience. It's like, isn't that fun? Like learning combos and then finally like pulling them off in a match and being like, you know, you feel super gross. You feel like you're like, dude, I'm nice. I am fucking nice. I just hit that combo I've been grinding in training mode. It's like, why would you want to like, you know, skip that? If it's just like, oh, well, I press a button and then it did it because I like scripted it. It's like, it's fucking whack. Mankind knew they could not change society, so instead of reflecting on themselves, they made macros. So, anyway, without getting too sidetracked, always laugh at that post of someone saying John Choi was using macros for being able to DP so consistently. Why would someone macro a DP? You gotta be down bad to macro like a special move. Like, bro, just learn the input. It will literally be faster than scripting it. But anyway. So this is where we start to see some creepy things now that we're a lot further down. We're basically like underground at this point because we just took that super long stairway. And this is where it starts to kind of hint. It's like, hey, this is a Civil War era prison. You know, September 11th, 1820. Prisoner number C221. And James is like, I'm sorry, what the fuck? First aid kit. Everything is like ancient level, decrepit. Everything's super old and gross here. You can go... Well, you can't go that way. There's a couple of places you can go. There's like a hallway down here. Not a lot to it. Man, the music here is so good. It's just that really light, like, kind of drone where it's like... Gives me the heebie-jeebies. So we got some more paintings in here. They're actually really clear in this enhanced edition. We can see this first one. That noise almost sounds like a tightening noose, right? Like someone swaying in the gallows, right? A painting is hanging here. Crimson and White Banquet of the Gods. There's that's actually one of the rare Silent Hill cult, like the Silent Hill religious cult references in this game. You can see there's people wearing their weird, creepy, like ceremonial hoods and stuff. Remember what I was talking about, the Pyramid Heads, the executioners, as they actually were? How they punish people, and prisoners who were sentenced to death were given the choice between skewering and strangling. This is where that mentions that. You can see there's some guys actually impaled on the picture, like Vlad the Impaler style. Death by skewering. An execution at the prison, death by skewering or strangling. To choose his death is the prisoner's last taste of freedom. We got one more here too. This is the Toluca prison camp. Built during the Civil War, later became Toluca prison. And you can see that's essentially where it's, you know, where we are. Creepy. Also a box of bullets in here. What an odd place. Oh, that's back the way we came. Yeah, now at this point of the game, it certainly is getting a lot more streamlined, so it's a lot... Wait a second. Where have we seen this before? We literally saw this just back in the Historical Society, and, you know, there's a photo, and he's like, what is this here for? This is one of the things that Team Silent has gone on record saying that the, you know, people noticed, like in the previous playthrough, you jump down a lot of holes here. You go, it's you know, I made a joke about it, it's like you're going to the center of the earth. But this is actually symbolic and intentional. The reason why, like, you go down the stairs, you jump down this hole, you jump down another one, and then another one, and then you take an elevator down, and you just keep going further. And that's basically kind of like digging deeper into James' own psyche. Like, he's kind of like really kind of like this is a representation for him, like kind of like looking deep within himself, deep inside himself, to kind of realize the truth and break through his delusion. We are very much, in a sense, going further down the rabbit hole. That's actually a good point. I've never counted how far down he goes, but it would not surprise me if it ends up being like 7 layers. If you descend 7 times, that would be a really interesting interpretation. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Well, I guess we've been down 1, or I guess if you count the stairs, it'd be 2. Yeah, this part, just a wall. It's impossible to climb. It's one of those segments where you just have to kind of feel around until you get the text where it says something is different. You cannot break this by shooting. You have to use a melee weapon. Chainsaw counts as a melee weapon though, so we can use that. And now let's put that shit away because that weapon sucks. Extremes, the raid of 3. Thank you guys. I appreciate you, Extremes. How you been doing? I hope you've been doing good. It's been a minute. And to those of you who just joined us, welcome. We are doing a very spoiler-heavy playthrough of Silent Hill 2, so if you do not want Silent Hill spoilers, I do want to warn you. Turn back. If you want to see some of the stuff we've been talking about, some of the symbolism, some of the little Easter eggs and hints and stuff about characters and whatnot, this is the stream you want to see. Creepy dudes about. Yo, Eek with the subscription! My man! Thank you. That is so cool. And very much appreciated. Oh, wow, we can just see that just kind of ends. Definitely a part of the game where you think, oh, it's not just the city that's messed up, something is wrong with James. This is definitely... It's not so much, you know, you kind of go, at first your impression is like, oh, it's like a haunted city, or like there's monsters everywhere or something. But the more you go, it's like, it's not so much the city, it's more of a thing with James, you know. So this is one of the rooms that does have RNG. You can see the keypad right here. I don't think it'll let us interact with it just yet. Yeah, we actually do. Oh, it will. Okay. I wonder if we can hit this early. No, it won't let us. But we can see a little preview. How this puzzle works, when we go pick up that key, the flashlight battery is going to burn out. Then we have to go into our inventory and use the battery that we conveniently picked up in the hospital. That's going to cut the light back on, but when we turn it back on, there's going to be bugs everywhere. If you stay in here too long, they actually will do a little damage to you, and it is possible to die if you don't trial and error this puzzle soon enough. I have had it happen one time, and it was whack, so... but how this puzzle works is... Here, we can go ahead and do those things. So we pick up this key, flashlight burns out. Like everything in this game, you have to have a light source to interact with stuff. And that door is locked. We can't look at the keypad to unlock it until we fix the battery and the flashlight issue. Creepy crawlies everywhere. So how this works is there will be 3 buttons on this keypad that are randomly lit. Which 3 buttons is RNG. This playthrough we can see it's 6, 7, and 9. You have to kind of try, or you have to trial and error, or just guess what the correct combination to leave this room is. So we're gonna try 6, 7, 9. I'm godlike. I hit it first try. If you get it wrong, it just, it exits back out, and you might possibly get hit by bugs again, and then you have to like kind of mash to get back on the keypad and try another combo. Well, that's very sideways. Now, if you notice, this is why you have to go in that room, is because that spiral writing key got some interesting writing on it. "'Tis doubt which leadeth thee to purgatory." Honestly, some people wonder, what is Silent Hill? Is it like hell or something? I think the interpretation that I like the most is that it is purgatory. It is essentially a place for, the 3 people that were like drawn here, the 3 real people that were drawn here, James, Eddie, and Angela. They were all drawn here to, in their own ways, for their own crimes, be punished for their sins, right? James murdered his wife. Eddie shot a football player in the knee and killed a dog. Angela stabbed her abusive father, So we have to get that key from the bug room. Right, so this is going to be, what is this like? This is descent number 3. I'm going to try to keep count, because that 7 layers thing is pretty interesting. Oh, Eek, you've never played Silent Hill? Oh no. You need to play this one. This game is so good. It's super godlike. You loved RE 1 through 4, 7 in the remakes? Same? I am eventually going to do some playthroughs for Resident Evil Remake, because I fucking love that game too. Probably going to do Resident Evil 2 Remake as well, or maybe some of the other old ones. This is another one of my favorite cutscenes in this game. I think Eddie's voice actor was actually really underrated.
Killing a person ain't no big deal. Just put the gun to their head. Pow.
The direction in that CGI scene there is also super good. You can really see the craziness in his eyes.
He made me do it.
Calm down, Eddie. Tell me what happened.
You can tell something is
he had it coming.
not quite right about Eddie.
Anything. He just came after me. Besides, he was making fun of me with his eyes, like that other one.
Just for that, you killed him?
What do you mean, just for that?
Eddie, you can't just kill someone because of the way they looked at you.
Oh yeah? Why not? Till now I always let people walk all over me. Just like that stupid dog.
He references the
He had it coming too.
dog that he shot.
I was just joking, James.
Eddie is absolutely starting to lose
Get
his
what I
fucking
got
grip on
here,
reality.
honest.
He's starting to
Anyway,
just give
I
in
gotta
to
run.
his...
You're going out there alone?
Yeah.
Like, you can tell Eddie was just, like, picked on for his weight or for his appearance, and it kind of drove him to a point where it's like, well, fuck it, I'm just gonna people make fun of me and I'm just gonna fucking blow their brains out. Oh, look at this. Another corpse here that is also James. They're all James. Anyway, so if we look around in this little mess hall area, we've got a couple items we can pick up. Got a health potion, got a key item here that we need for a puzzle later. There's also a painting of it in the background where we can kind of see what it looks like. There's also some really interesting stuff in some of the cells in the prison here. Casually jumping down deep dark holes. I mean, James is all about, like, he's just really into base jumping. Oh, the corpses. All the NPC corpses that you see in the game are all James. Like the one that you see in the apartment, the one that Pyramid Head is implied as murdering, the one that's in front of the TV. If you camera hack and spin the camera around, it's James. As a matter of fact, when we do the boss fight versus Eddie here in a bit, and there's like just you go into the room with the big like vents. You know, they almost look like big dryer vents or something everywhere, and there's a bunch of corpses, and he's talking about like he just killed all the people in there. They are all James. They all use James as model. Oh, we need to grab that. That's the map for the prison. We also need to go in the showers, which is where we're head now. Do a little stomp, a little stompy stomp. This is where we get the second tablet, which is the tablet of the seductress. I don't think there's anything else in here, actually. There might be like some bullets or something on the other side. I guess we might as well check. We're already here, right? You can see this is just a little like cell with a bathroom, or just maybe it is a bathroom or something. The other side is showers, so. If we go down a little further, some more papers here. Nothing we can read this time. This is probably where we want to go, but before we do that, we're going to go ahead and check here to pick this first aid kit. You can see this is one of the things that's just kind of hinting like, hey, come into this room from the other side. This is obviously one of those rooms that, you know, visitors can speak to prisoners in. And if we go into this room from the door on the other side, we can get that little Zippo that's there, so we just want to remember to come back for that. Now this is a way to get to that other side. But honestly, we can kind of wait on that, because we can't... That's where we ultimately need to go, but there's other places we need to explore first. So we're going to do those. Grab the items out of them. So the first one we're going to go down is this one here. Yeah. Now there are a couple of especially creepy things in this hallway. Like you'll see most of these are broken. There are some of these, like a couple of these that have enemies in them. You have to be careful because if you get too close, they will absolutely spray you with like gross acid stuff. And it can hurt you, so be careful. Also, if you recognize the heavy footsteps and the whoosh, whatever it is, that's the same clip that played when you very first arrived and you're walking into the town on the little forest path. I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that guy. Yeah, alright, that one's dead. One thing that's interesting, there is an invisible monster in this room. And this is also another one of those things Team Silent said that they designed on purpose. Just something to kind of creep you out. You see how he's looking at something? Like he's kind of turning his head. You can even point at it. I want to say it's technically possible to like shoot and kill it even. But if you go over here, nothing is there. Nothing is there. Here, let's see. Bro, what the fuck? That made a noise when we shot it. It sounded like a person. I never knew about that before, so... apparently, you can see there's blood that showed up when we shot it. So apparently you can even shoot and kill the invisible monster and it has a unique sound effect. What the fuck? Creepy stuff. You can see a really early predecessor to the Halo of the Sun that you see in the save points in Silent Hill 3. It's like kind of similar to that, where it's got some of the runes. It's just got 4 circles in the middle instead of 3, and it's got this little X. There's also a couple of other like symbol symbols in this room. Also some creepy things we can read and a creepy thing we can pick up, a wax doll, which we'll use that in a bit. Books are scattered all over the floor. On Sacrifice in the Art of Demon Summoning, Tome of the Seer, The Feast of the Succubi, The Fallen Angels of Mercy and Favor. I guess I shouldn't worry about these too much. Just normal things. Black Magic from the Abyss, Resurrection of the Dead. That's a hint at the Rebirth Ending. The Chronicle of Agrippa, Manuscript of the Iron Rings. It's kind of implied that maybe this person is in the occult or something. They're definitely into some alternative tastes. Is there a dude? Yeah. Naked, straight jacket dudes. Alright, so let's go a little further down here. And take care of this guy real quick. What the fuck? What was that like sound like when we shot the invisible monster and he made like a person noise? Like, ugh, like I can't think of a single other enemy in this game that makes that noise. Like, what the fuck? Bloodstained clothes. I think this door's broke, yeah. I'm gonna be up at night on that. Alright. Another dude we can just casually mow down. Now do we have all the tablets? Yeah, we do not have all the tablets. There's one more that we need. Try to remember where it's at. I think it actually is in one of the side rooms. This side of the prison. It's probably this one. Oh no, this is the one with the paintings. Look familiar? Burning Man. This is actually hinting at the true fate of the Lakeview Hotel. If you notice, this is the Lakeview Hotel. It's even got the little dock that you arrive at on the boat when you get to the hotel area and you start that section. You can see it's all on fire. And then once you watch the tape and James's delusion is shattered, he sees the hotel as it actually is, where everything is like water damage from sprinkler systems. And you realize that the hotel did burn down in a fire. This is hinting at that. I guess you could consider it foreshadowing. Foreshadowing at a realization of something that already happened. Like, you'll come to see when your delusion is shattered, that's what really happened to the hotel. So this is just a little doodle. I actually have no idea what this one's about. It's apparently 436 people at a recital. Now you may be wondering, did they actually draw out 436 people? I have no idea. I have never counted. That just seems like a lot of work. Little doodle of like some concert or something it looks like. But it's just a recital. Oh, Silent Hill folk and their religious... Oh, there's another invisible enemy over here, so let's... I wonder if we... Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure that somebody's counted. It's not in this one. You can tell when you're by the invisible enemy because your radio acts up, and when you aim your weapon, you'll auto-aim at it. So... Oh, there he is. It's almost like he's upstairs, right? He went... Ooh. Bro, I'm positive we just shot, like, a person. Like... There's more blood on the ground. What the shit? There's also something on the blood? Is it like a bug? It looks like one of the bugs, doesn't it? I don't know what that is, but... Creepy. More sound effects that I have not heard previously. Oh, here's the last tablet. Tablet of the Oppressor. You can see a lot more of the... they mentioned the persecution of the Christians, or persecution at the hands of the Christians earlier in the game. What happened to Jennifer Carroll, the praying woman statue. You can see some more Christian symbolism, or references to Christianity as a religion in this room. You can see, looks like Jesus carrying a cross, or someone's carrying a cross. There's also a literal crucifix photo over here on the left. Just, you know, just some things. And some magazines. Unfortunately, I don't think you can actually read any of the text in this room, so we don't know what this person was talking about, but just something to kind of make it tense. You try to exit this room, and the first couple of times you try to open the door, it just pretends like it's stuck. If you just smash it a few times, it'll get it open. Just another little... Okay, now that door's unlocked, so we can go back to it later. But now we need to circle back to the place where we actually use the tablets. Let's go ahead and take care of this guy. You can kind of tell because the auto-aim will also automatically point down and do some on the floor. You can kind of use it like we did just now. That enemy was off screen, but we could tell when he started to fall to the floor. It's not like Resident Evil, where you'll still aim straight ahead unless you manually point down. I've always thought this is one of the cooler areas in the prison and just in the game in general. It's almost like this big outdoors area, right? But if you look, it has a ceiling. It's actually not outdoors. It just kind of looks that way. But just being out here, you hear these kind of soft, like, galloping horse hooves in the background, right? See some gallows, and it's like the way, because it's so dark and opaque, it's almost like you're wondering if like some horse enemy is gonna like jump out at you or something, so it gives you the heebie-jeebies for sure. You can also see the executioners doing their thing on this painting here, and well then, you know, I wonder if we go and look at these. I don't think we actually can like examine these. Oh, we can. There are 3 ropes hanging from the scaffold. This is also one of those places like the pool. There's a few places in the game where you can like walk off a short distance and kind of like trip. This is one of the places where you can do that. Now we want to take our tablets, right? I give you blood to atone for the 3 sins, is written on top of the engraving. Beneath the engraving are 3 square depressions. So we've got our tablet of the oppressor. That person is being hella oppressed. We've got the gluttonous pig. And then we've got the seductress. Now, it could be, if you think about it, this is another thing that this is just personal conjecture. This is not something that has been confirmed or anything. If you think about it, this is kind of representative of the 3 real characters, right? James here oppressing his wife that he murdered. The gluttonous pig, Eddie. And the seductress, in other words, the sexually abused character, Angela, right? Although the seductress could be a reference to Maria, but that would seem kind of... It wouldn't seem... If that is the idea that these are referencing characters, it wouldn't really match up with the other 2. Let's go ahead and combine these and use all of them. Tablet of the oppressor gets inserted, gluttonous pig, the seductress, and then there's a little jump scare here at the end. You're just like, oh, cool. And then somebody has a... Sounds like somebody goes for a little hang time. You know what I mean? Right? Right? But now when we come back, those horse hooves make sense because there's a lone horseshoe on the door. There's really good, like, one thing I feel this game excels at is kind of that abstract, like, subtle horror like that, where it's like, they don't tell you what the horses are doing there. They don't explain any of the sound effects. They don't explain why you get a horse shoe, you know, but it's just, it all is just kind of like, you know, it's just kind of vague, and I feel like sometimes the best horror is the stuff that's, like, just in the dark corners of the room, right? The stuff that you can't see is what's scariest. And I feel like that's one of the areas in the game where that's actually done superbly well, with the galloping sound effects and whatnot. So, what do we have? We've got the horseshoe, we've got the doll. We're going to need both of those here in a second. The last thing that we need is the Zippo. So now we're on the other side, like in this little hallway here. We're just going to check some of these. These are busted. Well, 1 or 2 of these are busted. One of these we can go in. Is the next one? Yeah. This one has a couple baddies in it. So we're gonna handle things. So anyway, I started blasting. There's an Ampoule. This is almost like a break room or something. Just kind of weird. If this is like a Civil War era prison, why is there like Coke cans and like cookies and stuff that we see in the apartments? Why is there a fucking TV? Right? It's like, I guess that's maybe the game's way of letting you know. It's like, you have only gone to a location that is from an old time. You have not gone back in time. You don't like time travel in this game. It's not what it's about. The industrial sounds here really, creepy. There's a magazine here. I've never seen it before. It's probably a locally published magazine. Toluca Lake, the town's main tourist attraction. This clear, beautiful lake has another side as well. It may seem like just a typical ghost story that you might find in any number of old towns across the country, but in this case, the legend is true. On a fog-bound November day in 1918, the Little Baroness, a ship filled with tourists, failed to return to port. A newspaper article from back then simply says, it most likely sunk for some reason. Despite an extensive police search, not a single fragment of the ship, nor any of the 14 bodies of passengers or crew, has been recovered to this day. In 1939, an even stranger incident occurred, and then you don't know what it is. Many corpses rest at the bottom of this lake. Their bony hands reach up towards the boats that pass overhead. Perhaps they reach for their comrades. Creepy, right? It is, letting you know that Toluca Lake is definitely a site of tragedy. There's been some bad happenings that have occurred on the lake in the past. But the real cool thing that's in here is we get some rifle shells, and better yet, we get the rifle. The rifle is the big boy gun in this game. This is definitely something you want to save for your boss fights, so almost missing more rifle shells. You want to try to save this for your boss fights because it will make them go much quicker. It does a shit ton of damage, and if I remember right, I don't think the recovery is quite as long as the shotgun shots. It's like way better damage, better frame data, better range. You don't have to be like, the shotgun you've got to be a little close to get max damage. The rifle you can just start blasting. There's another painting here, or another photo. It looks like it's probably another picture of the prison, maybe from a different angle or something. But that's the main stuff that we wanted to get in this room. This is just a little optional room to get the rifle. You can actually skip that whole room, you don't have to go in it. Oh, almost missed the Zippo. We need to grab that before we proceed. There's also a men's and women's restroom here. This is the men's restroom. There's not a whole lot going on in this one. There's a save point if you want it. Not super necessary, so we're just gonna pass it. The women's restroom has one of the possible jump scares. I want to say it's like, I think this is another one that has a 50-50 chance to play, and it's when you knock on the closed bathroom stall and then you try to leave. Okay. See, this time we didn't get it. We actually got it in our last playthrough. How it works is you knock on the stall, and then as you start to walk away, you hear like both kind of like a short scream and like a tumbling, like someone fell. It's like, or something. It's a bit, it's a pretty good jump scare. So this is going to be where the Zippo's at. I'll go ahead and grab it. If you guys remember, like we did in the hospital, we took a bent needle that we turned into a hook and literally some long hair, and we just kind of MacGyvered a way to pull the key out of the shower drain. We're going to do the same little MacGyver trick here to make something that will help us open this this door. There's a depression left where there was probably once a handle. There's no handle here now, so we're just going to have to make one. We know that these rooms are broken. Shit's all rusty. All doors are locked. So if we combine, basically we're going to melt the wax doll and then stab the horseshoe into it, and voila, homemade handle. This is, I think, number 4 as far as like you know, descending the depths. If someone wants to correct me on that count, I think this is the 4th time we've like descended in some way. James looking around. We've got to be like, you know, we're like approaching center of the earth or something as we delve deeper into James's psyche. Too late to count. Yeah, it is getting a little late. It's about 2:20 here. I'm probably gonna wrap up. I can go for a little bit longer. I want to at least try to finish this area, I guess. Or maybe I'll stop like just before we get to the labyrinth or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we see some save points. This is a hell of a room. Obviously, this is a prison morgue, right? You can tell it's not a proper morgue. They don't have like the drawers or anything like that. They just literally just shove in corpses in holes, which is you know, kind of jarring. One little neat trick that they do here is normally the flavor text is the same like every time that you look at something. So if you look at something and it says like there's a newspaper here, it's not interesting. The next time you look at it, it'll have the same text. There's a newspaper here, it's not interesting. This room actually works a little bit differently. Just another thing to kind of keep you on your toes. Like, there's a lot of little small psychological tricks that they do to kind of keep the player like, wait, what? If you check the corpses in this room, the first time that you check each of them, or some of them, I think it's like 2 of them that when you check them this happens with. The first time that you check them, the flavor text will show one thing. When you check it again, and every time that you check it after that, it will show something else. It's like this one. Did that just move, or was it only my imagination? And it's like, wait, what? And you read it again, and it just says, corpse smells nauseatingly of rotten flesh. And no matter how many times you check it after that, you'll never get that first flavor text again. They also do it with one of these over here on the side. It's not that one. It's maybe this one. There's like 1 or 2. A horrible smell is coming from the hole. No, it's not that one. I think it actually... This is it. My God. In the hole. I didn't see that. And then it just says, a horrible smell is coming from the hole. Again, this is something where it's like, what you can't see makes it even scarier, right? Like, it makes it even more unnerving, where it's like, bro, what do you see? Like, what's in there? It just looks like body parts or feet or something. A horrible smell is coming from the hole. If we go and check some of these on the other side, there's something in the hole. It looks like it's all dismembered. No, I can't look anymore. And then you never see that one again. I think, yeah, so there's 3. Okay, so there's this one, there's the one on the left, there's the one on the right. This one's probably going to be the same thing. Yeah. And if you notice, there's you can tell there are track marks, bloody tracks on the ground, indicating that they are using that gurney as some sort of transport for the corpses. This corpse into this hole. So this is what, number 5? There's a hole in the floor. I can't see the bottom. How far does this thing go? Will you go down? Bro, I'm not jumping in that shit. Nice use of ambient noise to just kind of make you, the player, just like a little bit disoriented, uncomfortable. It's starting to feel like a maze, right? It's like, how many of these do I need to go down? What in the world is going on here? I think this is number 6. Another hole. Do I really have to drop through it? Let's do it. Well, 6 if you count the long stairway. As far as like just purely holes that we've jumped down is 5. So that's gonna put us, damn, pretty far down. Now this is another place, it's kind of like the long stairs. This is another time that we will go down further, but we don't jump down a hole. Not exactly. For this one, we actually are going to take an elevator. And you don't notice that it's an elevator at first. You just kind of walk in and you're like, ooh, piece of candy. You start picking up stuff. As soon as you try to pick up one of the items in the back, door closes. And this is descent number 7. Which, wouldn't you know it? You know, I think that might have been a very astute observation about the 7 layers of hell. Because this is the last one before we get to Maria, right? That's a pretty good catch. I'm sure that probably somebody else may have noticed that. I certainly never noticed that, so that's a good eye. And just like the stairs, the elevator here is a bit unnervingly long. Not quite as long, but it feels like it's like, alright, how much deeper is this going to go? I feel like that gif of Jay-Z where he's like, it's like, alright, things are getting weird. Getting weirder. Yeah, so now we're at the start of the labyrinth. Let's see, it's 2:26 here. We can knock out the labyrinth. The labyrinth is short. So, as the name implies, the labyrinth. Are you heading out, good Celius? Well, appreciate you tuning in. Have a good one. I hope you have a good night as well. So this area is unique. There is no map for this area. This is an area where James hand draws the map as you explore. Now, that sounds pretty maze-like, and it is, you know, most people refer to this area as the labyrinth or the maze or whatever you want to call it. It's honestly not so bad. Yeah, like it is pretty short. It's easy enough that if you just wander around a bit, you'll eventually figure it out. Like, it's not too bad. We do want to go and take this left fork here first, and the reason why is there's a special room. This part is all optional, like taking this left fork and going down here. You gotta watch out because there's some of the stabby dudes that stab your feet. You can hear them kind of wandering around. Holy fuck, I forgot he's down here. Oh shit. Oh shit, I gotta turn around. Sometimes Pyramid Head is down in this octagonal hallway. And you gotta be careful, because he will stab your shit, like he just did. I'm probably pretty hurt. But yeah, we're on easy, so we're not like that hurt. But yeah, you gotta be careful. If you come down here on like hard difficulty, he will body your shit. But this little room and this little area is optional. You come down here, and this is... A lot of people call this Pyramid Head's room. You can see it's got some of the corpses, or whatever they are, you know, the prisoners to be punished, the things in the cage, things are upside down. But more importantly, it's got... You notice when we fought Pyramid Head, or when we saw Pyramid Head just now, just like... when we've seen him in some of the recent paintings and such, where he's holding a spear instead of this great knife, we can actually pick up the great knife. We can equip it. It is an optional weapon you can get. Cool thing about the great knife, it is a massively powerful weapon. If you ready it and then you do the overhead swing, this is basically a guaranteed one-hit kill on like every normal enemy in the game. Downside is it's really slow. Frame rate is terrible. A lot of times, like if you're trying to use it on something like a legs or straitjacket, they'll often be able to kind of wiggle into range and hit you before this goes active and you kill them. So you gotta be careful with it. Especially on higher difficulties where enemies are faster and more aggressive, it definitely gets worse. I think this is the only attack this has. Let's see, I don't think it's got... Yeah, most of the melee attack, or most of the melee weapons have like 2 attacks, like a weak one and a strong one. If I remember right, it was based on like the proxy, or not proxy, the pressure sensitive buttons on the PS2, if I recall right. But yeah, they counter hit you during startup, exactly. That's why you gotta be careful. We gotta be careful. That's more the hanging dudes. So now we came up here, and this is, you can tell that's an octagon. It just connects it all the way around. So we're back where we started, even though it looks like we came up a different ladder. If we go down here on the left, we'll see the barbed wire. That's ultimately where we're needing to go. We gotta get some wire cutters to clip it before we can go any further. So, oh yeah, let me go ahead and equip the pistol again. Jesus, we're up to 64 rifle shells, 239 shotgun shells. You know, fuck it, I'm just gonna break out the shotty. We're just gonna go the wrong way. No, we need to go up here and take the right fork. And then that's gonna bring us to another ladder, and this is where we start to see the watery kind of area. Jeez, one hit kill. No stomp required. Now this first little path is pretty straightforward. You just go down that little like Tetris-shaped kind of zigzag. And then we see this interesting puzzle. So there's this big head, right? You can actually press buttons on your D-pad to turn it, right? How this puzzle works is this next room that you go into, which way you turn the head affects which, like it literally, as you rotate the head, it rotates this entire room that we're standing in right now. We need to rotate it in a way so that there's a doorway here and a doorway here, like directly across, because that is the opening to the next room. So if we look around, we can actually see which way we need to turn it. It is kind of tough because you can't really see all the way up. But yeah, we can see one to the top and to the left, like on the left wall at the very top center, and on the right wall at the very top center. So that tells us how we need to turn this. So, let's see. The left top center would be like the top left center for the green face. So that should do it. Yep. And now we just walk straight across and shit starts getting freaky. Like, wait a second. I literally saw you get murdered.
You're alive!
By Pyramid Head.
Maria, I thought that thing killed you. Are you hurt bad?
Not at all, silly.
And she's just like, NBD.
Maria? That thing, it stabbed you. There was blood everywhere.
Stabbed me? What do you mean?
It chased us to the elevator, and then...
James, what are you talking about?
Also,
just before. Don't you remember?
this line.
James, honey, did something happen to you? After we got separated in that long hallway?
This game literally gaslights you as the
Confusing me with
player.
Someone else?
It's like, wait. But then this part.
You were always so forgetful. Remember that time in the hotel?
It's like, wait.
Maria?
James's brain is like frying like
you
an egg
said you
right now.
took everything. But you forgot that videotape we made. I wonder if it's still there.
How do you know about that? Aren't you Maria?
I'm not your Mary.
So, you're Maria?
I am. If you want me to be.
Again,
All I want
implying
from
that
you is an answer.
she's just a product of his imagination.
It doesn't matter who I am.
But it's fine because
I'm here for you, James. See? I'm real.
it doesn't really matter. I can please you sexually. That's what you really want, right, James?
Don't you want to touch me?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Come and get me. I can't do anything through these bars.
Also the not so
Okay.
subtle
Stay right
implication
there.
that
I'll
there's
be there soon.
literally a fucking bed in this room. And if you stay in this room after this cutscene for a moment, she will literally get up and go lay on it. It's pretty obvious what's going on here. She's basically saying, hey, if you come to me, then I'll give you what you really want. And James is like, well, okay, because that is his true nature, of course. So now that we walk back in here, we see, oh, convenient wire cutters, cool. That's going to help us clip those wires that we had ran into a moment earlier. So now we just need to kind of retrace our steps, go back to the start of the labyrinth, use the wire cutters, and then there's a little bit more labyrinth stuff to do. So we're going to go down here, hang a left, use the clippy boys. Where are they? Right there. Do a little snip snip. Now this is the part where it actually gets like maze-like, where it's definitely a little bit easier to get lost in this section. So for one, I think you want to take this ladder immediately. If you go down here, you know what I mean? I can show you guys. Actually, no, I'm not going to show you guys that part, because it just makes it take longer. There's not really anything interesting. It's just you can go a little bit farther and eventually you'll get to a dead end. Besides, I might just get lost again anyway. I can never remember the exact path. I usually just kind of like feel it out and guess. Last time I actually guessed perfectly. I didn't make any... Come on now. Shotgun not so good at long range, but usually very good at close range. Yeah, I think this is where we want to go. Oh, you heading out, Wagner? Thanks for tuning in. Have a good night. And again, GG's on the Glizzy Wednesday 7th place. That's good stuff. Right, so now we know we're going the right way. This is kind of like a marker in the labyrinth. As soon as you see this area with the fence is unique. There's only one that looks like that in the labyrinth, so when you see this, you know that you're on the right track. So we just want to cut around this and go down. Whoop! This dude right here, so we want to run past him. And I believe we want to cut this first left. I think we're still going the right way. Whoop! That one didn't die. Then this one I want to say we want to take the right. Oh no, we don't want to take this right. That one actually, if I remember right, that one puts us, it takes you to this room that's like a big square shape. And that's probably the easiest place to get lost if you're just like, well, I'll just follow the right wall. You know, it's not going to work well in a room that's a big square. But we did make it to the end here. So our reward for completing the labyrinth is we get this newspaper article. This is another article that has some redacted text. So we'll go ahead and pull up the unredacted text where we can read it here. Let's see. Newspaper. The blood-soaked newspaper. Here it is. So the restored text for this is stained with something that looks like blood and is partially illegible. Right, the restored version of this text is: the body of a man later identified as Thomas Orozco, lumberjack, age 39, was discovered in the middle of his room lying face up. The probable cause of death was multiple stab wounds to the front of the neck and the left side of the torso by a sharp-edged weapon, hint hint Angela's knife. The estimated time of death was sometime between 11 p.m. and 12:30 midnight. Due to signs of struggle in the room and a lack of a murder weapon, police are considering this a homicide and have opened a murder investigation. Furthermore, given the fact that the cash in the room was untouched and Mr. Orozco had a history of drunkenness and violence, the police suspect that the motive was not robbery, but some sort of crime of passion. It was indeed a crime of passion. He was, he had been sexually abusing, Angela, and she, at some point decided to not put up with that anymore, and she stabbed and killed him. Which, we're about to learn a lot more about that in this very next cutscene. We're going to need to do this boss fight. When we walk in this room, we're going to see Angela. Like, I guess I'll pre-explain some of this stuff, because it happens kind of quick. So we're going to see Angela, and we're going to see this big gross-looking monster. If you look closely at the monster, like this is another place where the monster design comes into play. If you look closely at the monster, it very closely resembles two people on a bed, which is a bit skin-crawly. And you can see Angela is freaking out because she's basically having, like, PTSD flashbacks. When you kill the thing, or almost kill the thing, she drops the TV on it, starts kicking it. James goes over to try to help her up, and she's like, "Don't touch me," you know. I think that's a result of her own personal trauma, like her own past experiences, but also she kind of calls him out and says, "I know what you are," you know. We'll go ahead and...
Daddy, please don't.
We'll go ahead and look at that now. Also, the sexual imagery in this room is... literally, the walls have penetration. Gross. Doesn't matter. I'm about to fuck him up. Yeah. Well, shit. Okay, I got him. Damn, I was thinking it was 4 shotgun shells, but it's 5. Oops.
Are you okay?
Damn.
Angela, relax.
Don't order me around!
I'm not trying to order you.
So what do you want then? Oh, I see. You're trying to be nice to me, right? I know what you're up to. It's always the same. You're only after one thing.
No, that's not true at all.
And in James's
You
case,
don't have to lie.
she's
Go
actually
ahead
right.
and say it. Or you could just force me. Beat me up like he always did.
Damn.
You only care about yourself anyway. You
Also true.
disgusting pig.
Angela,
Don't touch me.
Yikes.
You make me sick.
But she knows.
You said your wife Mary was dead, right?
yes. She was ill.
Liar! I know about you. You didn't want her around anymore. You probably found someone else.
That's ridiculous. I never.
Again, it's like some of those cobwebs are starting to kind of clear up. He's like, I would never do that, would I? It's kind of the vibe that we get there. Yuck. This room is just gross, creepy. Yeah, that definitely gives us a little bit more insight about Angela's character and a little bit more about James as well. This is one of the cooler puzzles in this game. On easy, I picked easy where we could see the differences in like the enemy, enemy patterns and what they do. But also the puzzles are different on easy puzzle difficulty. So we'll go ahead and read what this one is. If you guys remember, the original poem in the normal mode is dead men swinging in a tree. We'll see what it is on easy. He committed an evil crime. He turned a happy home into a pile of ash. For that, he should die. They also committed crimes. They tried to fraud and trick others, so their reward, too, is natural. Even he cannot be forgiven, my friend without his left hand, and so his death bothers me not. And what of him? He also is not sinless. There is only one here who is innocent. The missing child was nowhere to be found, and so there was no proof of his guilt. His death was a tragedy. That is all I wish to say. It was neither justice nor retribution. We have a little sister sign next to it. Only the sinless one can help you here. Mistakenly pull on a criminal's rope and your reward will be returned to you in a shape most wondrously strange. Basically giving you a hint, it's like you need to pull the correct rope. If you pull the wrong one, when you come into this hallway, it will be populated with a few enemies. Which you don't even have to kill them. If you actually do pull the wrong rope, you can just dodge, get around them, and double back to where you pull the rope again. And then if you pull the correct one, the enemies that were here will all disappear. So it sounds like, looking at the memo, because I've got to remember what the solution is, or I guess we can just resolve it, for the one we were just looking at, the... I guess it's Please Someone Save Me. Yeah, it's the name of it. He committed an evil crime. He turned a happy pile of home into a pile of ash. That's the arsonist. So we know the arsonist is guilty. He cannot be forgiven. My friend without his left hand. Not sure what that's referring to, but that guy is also guilty. What of him? He is also not sinless. Don't know who that's referring to. The missing child was nowhere to be found, and so there was no proof of his guilt. His death was a tragedy. They literally, in easy riddle mode, they just kind of give the answer away. In a way that's, I mean, they kind of do that in the normal version of this puzzle too. But on this one, we just need to find who is the kidnapper. Oop. Swindling. Bodily injury. We've got arson. Kidnapping. Okay, so it's the second one in the top right row. Then thievery. So we need to pull the corresponding noose in the other room. So middle one in the top right row. So we'll go here and pull it. Also, notice the imagery, again, the imagery of the suicidal ideation. It looks almost like James is going to use that noose on himself. I think he stopped short. No enemies, so looks like we got it. If we walk back in here, we have got the key of the persecuted. The paper that was covering the corpse's face is lying here. The corpse is gone. We freed him from his torment, whatever you'd want to call it. Now, the reason why we needed to get that key, if we go back to the end of the hall, there's going to be some handcuffs here that we need to unlock it with the key of the persecuted. We need this to open this this area. So we're going to go ahead and unlock this. Nails on a chalkboard. I hate that sound effect. So now we go down and it's like, alright, we're back in here. This part isn't really a maze. There's just this door and it's locked if we try to open it. So there's only the one way we can go, and this is one of my favorite songs in the game. I've always really loved this track. And this is when we find, again, Maria is dead. Hey James.
Maria, no!
Wake up, buddy.
What happened to you?
The texture work from the Enhanced Edition team, you can really see the detail in Maria's corpse here. Yikes. It's kind of interesting. It's like, it looks like she was beaten, but it also kind of doesn't. It almost looks like she has some kind of like texture on her face. It's almost like, was she beaten or did she die of some disease? Also, one thing that's kind of fucked up, now that she's dead, he can't have, you know, sex with Maria, so no reason to go back. There's nothing else for him here. Kind of a light implication or a subtle implication that the only reason he was going there for sex, and once he couldn't get that anymore, there's no other reason to be there. So, if we run down a little bit further, we are going to get to this area, this little makeshift kind of graveyard. I've always thought this area was pretty cool too. There's a few tombstones that we actually can look at. Some of them have stuff where it says it's too scratched up to read, you know, it's whatever. This one, some of them have little epitaphs or their names and stuff on them. This felon drank one last bottle of ale before he was executed and laid here to his eternal rest. There's also a few items in the corners of this room. We'll go ahead and snatch those up. The name on this tombstone is too scratched up to read. There's a name on this one, Miriam K, aka Traitor. Now, one thing that's kind of curious, there's another Miriam in this game. If you remember, Miriam is Billy's sister, Billy and his sister Miriam, but their last name was Locane. So Billy Locane and Miriam Locane. That's the two children that were murdered by Walter Sullivan in the newspaper article that we saw at the apartments. The name on the tombstone for that one is too scratched up. I think it's going to be the same case here. Oh, there's one here. Walter Sullivan. How about that shit? Speaking of the newspaper article. Some shoddy shells. Can we read this one? Probably not. No. And then there's some... Yeah, that is the guy from Silent Hill 4. Silent Hill 4 has some references to the previous games, and it's one of those things where it's like they've never confirmed nor denied if the Walter Sullivan in 4 is the same person as the child murderer Walter Sullivan that is referenced in Silent Hill 2. It could be a little nod. There are some other nods to Silent Hill 2 in Silent Hill 4. For example, sometimes in Silent Hill 4, you know, a big part of that game is you're trapped in the apartment, in Henry's apartment. And you can look out the glass, the looking glass, like the peephole in the door, at the front door. And sometimes when you look out, you'll see like the superintendent of the building. It's like this janitor-looking guy. He's like sweeping and stuff. There's a couple times where you can talk to him, and he reveals that, God, I can't remember his first name, but his last name is also Sunderland. And you find out that he's James Sunderland's father. And he mentions that his son visited Silent Hill a few years ago and never came back. That's one of the reasons why people tend to lean towards the in water ending being true. The end, you know, being the most canonical from Silent Hill 2, even though it's never been confirmed which one is the true ending. You know, it's kind of like, well, if he wasn't around, like if it was the Leave ending, you know, he left in that one. If it's the Rebirth ending, you know, he tries to resurrect Maria and then tries to leave or something. I mean, I guess you could argue, though, that it could also be that the Maria ending is true, where he submits to the delusion and just stays in Silent Hill and lives with Maria. But of course, for stuff like that, Konami has always remained mum. They've never officially confirmed, neither Konami nor Team Silent themselves have ever officially confirmed. I think actually Team Silent at one point said that there is no canonical ending. So we get an Ampoule, and we notice there's 3 fresh graves here, right? This one which is dug a little bit, this one which is dug, and this one which is like yet another hole for us to jump down. So I guess if we're still keeping count, this would technically be 8. Although I do kind of find it fitting that we did all that stuff with the labyrinth and saw Maria and all that stuff after 7 descents. You know, the 7th layer of hell is where all that took place. Now, this kind of hints a little bit more about which characters are real, and kind of goes to that theory that Silent Hill is purgatory. And that these characters, the real characters, were drawn here to be punished for their crimes, you know, punished for their sins. We can see there's a tombstone and a freshly dug grave for each of those three. We've got one for Eddie Dombrowski. We've got another one for Angela Orozco right here. And then we've got one for none other than James Sunderland. Of course, that is the only one that we can jump down. Now this looks like it's going to be another super long hallway. It's not. It's actually a lot shorter than the stairs, but it does have some creepy lighting effects toward the end where it all kind of goes... red. Now this is where shit's about to get a little nutty. You know, earlier I was saying that all of the... excuse me, that all the NPC corpses are all James. This entire next room, they're all James corpses. You just can't see their faces. If you camera hack, you can see it though. Let's go ahead and take a look at this envelope again, right? My restless dreams, I see that town. Silent Hill. You promised you'd take me there again someday, but you never did. Alone there now in our special place. Alright, so the letter still hasn't changed. We'll be checking that a few more times from now until the end of the playthrough, and we'll see if it is altered in some way. So we've got our rifle equipped. We're about to go for a little mini boss fight. You can see all the dead Jameses all over the floor. And this is the point where Eddie has just fucking snapped.
What are you doing?
What does it look like? He always busted my balls. You fat, disgusting piece of shit. You make me sick. Fat ass, you're nothing but a waste of skin. You're so ugly, even your mama don't love you. Well, maybe he was right. Maybe I am nothing but a fat, disgusting piece of shit. But you know what? It doesn't matter if you're smart, dumb, ugly, pretty. It's all the same once you're dead. And a corpse can't laugh. From now on, if anyone makes fun of me, I'll kill him. Just like that.
Bro?
Eddie, have you gone nuts?
I knew it. You too. You're just like him, James.
Hey, I didn't mean anything.
Don't bother. I understand. You've been laughing at me all along, haven't you? Ever since we first met. I'll kill you, James.
Then we've got to do the first little segment for this boss fight. On easy, this is going to be super easy. Because I'm pretty sure we can just rifle shot him faster than he can shoot back. On harder difficulties, you can't do that because he raises his gun too quickly. So you have to be a little bit more creative or abuse certain like hurtbox things in the room. But yeah, you can tell looking at all of these, every single one of these corpses, what's the thing they have in common, right? Black dress shoes, blue jeans, green jacket. Black dress shoes, blue jeans, green jacket. All of them. That's a pretty commonly reoccurring theme in this game.
Do you know what it does to you, James? When you're hated, picked on, spit on, just because of the way you look, after you've been laughed at your whole friggin' life.
Find out a little bit about why Eddie was drawn here, what his
That's why
sins
I ran
were.
away after I killed the dog. Ran away like a scared little girl. Yeah, I killed that dog. It was fun. It tried to chew its own guts out. Finally died all
Fuck
curled
Eddie.
up in a
All my
ball.
homies hate Eddie.
Then he came after me. I shot him too, right in the leg. He cried more than the dog. He's gonna have a hard time playing football on what's left of that knee.
Think it's okay to kill people?
You need help, Eddie. Don't get all holy on me, James. This town called you too. You and me are the same. We're not like other people.
Eddie's actually right.
Don't you know that? Let's party!
You can't just kill people and it's like, you do it, James. Ah, I actually got me. Alright, let me, Oh, is that the tech? Yo, did we just break his AI? Yo, word? Okay, let's, Oh, we already got it reloaded. Yo, is this the tech? No, because then he's about to shoot me. Well, I'm gonna have to remember that, though. That might be useful for, like, the hard playthrough. If I can get him to, like, punch a meat sack
Eddie?
carcass thing. It looks like it at
Eddie?
least, like, affects his AI.
I killed a human being.
Oh, you killed a human, huh? Well then.
A human being.
Wait a second.
Mary. Did you really die 3 years ago?
I killed a human being. A human being. It's slowly starting to click. He's starting to come around, right? Now, this next part... Warning, keep off. This next part, well, at this point it is kind of late. We should probably... See, I'm trying to think of where the next save point is at. Yeah, this is probably going to be the best point to go ahead and save. Because there's, after this area, we've got to do the little boat segment, and then we start the hotel, but the save point for the hotel is like a couple rooms in, so we'll go ahead and call it here for right now. As always, I do want to say thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed the spoiler-heavy stream part 2 for Silent Hill. I'm going to try to stream a bit more. Let's see. Tonight is Wednesday Night Fights. I don't know if I'll... I guess it really depends on what time I get off work. I might try to squeeze in a Silent Hill 2 stream maybe like before Wednesday Night Fights. If not, then we'll pick this up on Friday. In either case, the stream will be going on tomorrow. We'll be doing Plus R. Doing a POV tourney run for Wednesday Night Fights. We'll be seeing how far we can get in that. Hopefully take it all, or at least do well. But to anybody who tuned in, let me say thanks again. I hope you guys have a great night, or midday or morning, whatever time it is, wherever you may be. And let me say we will catch you next time. Later, y'all. Oh, and thank you, Sid. I'm glad that you're enjoying the Silent Hill stuff. It's been a lot of fun. Like, I'd mentioned this before, I might do more regular, like, Silent Hill 2 streams. I've mentioned before, I've actually never gotten a 10-star ranking, so maybe I could stream attempts at, like, trying to get 10-star, like, stream getting all the endings, and, you know, just whatever. This is one of those games that I enjoy playing through, like, pretty much every time I play it, so... But anyway, we'll be back tomorrow with Wednesday Night Fights, and I will see y'all then at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Later, guys.